Good morning, Tony. Your mission, should you choose to accept it. Review movies on the internet. Choose your team, but remember, no girls allowed. This tape will self-destruct in 5 seconds. Good luck, Tony. This is Boys Month.
Hello, everyone. I got it right this time. I made sure that it was going to click on me, and I always mess that up. I've messed it up like every single time. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Hack the Movies, a very special episode. It's the last episode of Boys Month, which I know we're all really excited about. We were all enjoying it. We haven't had to see any of those broads all month long. It's been really great. And to help me close out Boys Month is our boy Gil. Hello, Gil.
Hello, Tony. I love that opening. I have so many questions, though. Like, who is the Jim Phelps that gave you this mission? Why? What organization is it part of? I want to know the lore.
I don't think we thought about it that hard. Gil, we've been live streaming a bunch all month.
Yeah, Alien Earth every Tuesday. Check it out. We stream 9:30 Eastern Standard Time.
Yes.
Break down the latest episodes.
As soon as the episodes are done, we go live. We talk about them. I haven't missed an episode, and I don't plan on missing any episodes. Apparently, Gil and his family are a little bit more lax when it comes to what episodes they do.
I dreamed up the idea of seeing you co-host a live stream with my little brother. That just sounds like such a fun idea. I want to just sit back and watch it happen.
It sounds great. I'm sure the chemistry will be work perfectly. I'm excited for it. I know they've been really fun to do. I've been putting them on the podcast feed as well. I assume at the end I'll just like stitch them all together and put out one big compilation for them. But yeah, everyone should check that out. Today we're gonna oh god, there we are. Today, we're going to be talking about the 28 Days movies. I don't know if they have a title. I'm just calling them the 28 Days Later
There's
movies.
no good way to refer to it, because if you say 28 movies, we're talking about 28 movies. Who's on first?
But yeah, before we get into that, everyone, please become a patron on Patreon or channel member. But Patreon is where it's at. A lot of fun stuff over there. Everyone's getting their mugs in this month. If you've been a $10 patron for 9 months, you're getting your mugs right now. I've actually got to see one of the mugs. I was with Prison Mike when he opened up his mug, and they look great. Some are saying it's the best mug they've ever had, Gil. They've been saying that.
Wow. Your great mug on a mug.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yes. Consider becoming a patron. If you want to check out our commentary tracks or videos, you can either sign up and pledge, or you can just purchase them individually if you want. Test them out. Do a little trial run for yourself. That's all there. And I also put the public podcast feed there, so you got a one-stop shop for all your Hack the Movies needs. This weekend, I decided I'm going to do another fan film fiesta and look at some Superman fan films, Gil. And I might watch this one, Superman Solar. I based on your reaction, I think you might have heard of this one. Have you seen anything from this
I haven't heard of it. I'm just looking at it. It looks great. I think you've chosen a great way to spend your time.
I've seen some clips of it, Gil. It's not very good.
Is he solar powered? Is that the idea? This is like a Captain Planet kind of thing?
Well, Superman is solar powered. He gets his power from the sun.
Yeah.
I've never watched it in its entirety. Maybe those clips that look like they're shot horribly and acted poorly. I just feel that way because I'm watching them out of context.
That's right. Yeah.
Maybe if I watch them in context, it'll be great. So yeah, I'm going to pick a few Superman fan films and we're going to watch that. Maybe Saturday. I think I'm going to set that up for Saturday. We did this a while back for Jurassic Park, and that was a lot of fun. We watched some good ones. We watched some really bad ones. I'm going to take a look at that. But today we got to talk about the 28. Oh, wait, no. Before we get into that, what's the name of the game, Gil?
In space. No one. Oh, wait a minute. The name of the game is Super Chats. If you want to hear us whisper sweet nothings in your ear, send a Super Chat and we'll read it out loud. Within reason, folks. This is the internet after all.
And I want to apologize for last week, we did a goal and we reached the goal, and I was supposed to film myself dancing as Austin Powers. And I was like, I'll do it the next day. And then I spent all of Friday wondering if I killed Vito Gesualdi because he hadn't tweeted in 3 days, and I was the last interaction he had, and I was fighting with him. And I'm like, I'm suddenly not in a dancing mood. Vito's alive. I'm sure people are either celebrating or mad about that. And then I babysat for 2 days on like 3 hours of sleep, and I've been really busy. So I'm going to get the Austin Powers dance out. I apologize to you guys that I didn't do that. So no goal today, but please still give me super chats because I really, really need that.
20 years ago, when you were thinking ahead to your future, did you think this would be it? That there would be just the whole internet is waiting for me to dance like Austin Powers? That's the big stress in my life. Yeah,
honestly,
exactly
probably, yeah, probably. What is it? I was probably filming myself dance on the internet for free just to be an asshole. So yeah, I can see it going this way. Well, I think I've made it to where I need to be in life.
Good.
But yes, a few months ago, 28 years later came out, and everyone kept asking me, hey, when are you going to talk about it? When are you going to talk about it? I'm like, I really want to just talk about all of them. I want to do it with my boy Gil. We were supposed to do it earlier. I think we had to move it.
Yeah, something came up for me. Something came up for you.
Yeah, so there was some scheduling thing. We had to move it around. But yeah, now is the time. And of course, we have to start at the beginning if we're going to talk about these movies. And of course, we have to talk about 28 Days starring Sandra Bullock. And I have the plot synopsis here from the VHS tape, okay? Gwen Cummings, Sandra Bullock, a successful New York journalist and ultimate party girl, loves to have a good time. Trouble is, she can never tell when she's had enough. When she borrows her sister, Elizabeth Perkins, wedding limo and plows it into someone's front porch, the wild life she shares with her boyfriend Jasper, Dominic West, comes to a screeching halt. She earns herself a DUI and a 28-day stretch in rehab. There, she faces an unthinkable set of rules. No cell phones, and they have that in like parentheses.
Which made her very angry, rageful,
yes,
if you will.
Yes. And hold on. No cell phones and some strange rituals like chanting and gulp, sharing her feelings. Joining up with an eccentric group of fellow rehabbers led by the inimitable, the abominable snowman counselor Cornell, Steve Buscemi. Gwen embarks on a touching, often hilarious road to recovery, where she learns that life is not always a party, and that real happiness comes from within, and also flirting with Viggo Mortensen. Weird way to start off this franchise. Not gonna lie, Gil. But I watched this morning. This is a really good movie. What did you think?
Well, and you do see some of the seeds planted that get picked up and repeated in later movies. The movie opens up on VHS footage. So anytime she's partying, they present the flashbacks as something you'd see on a camcorder, which they took into 28 Days Later and basically shot the entire movie that way. So some of that kind of grounded feel gets planted here.
And you're right. They're at some kind of rehab facility, but it's, they're all full of rage. A lot of the people there, because they're being cut off from their drug of choice. So yeah, it was cool to see how they planted the seeds there for what would be this franchise. Weird that the first one is a like kind of romantic comedy drama. I wasn't expecting that. I will say this director, I think. Oh, hold on, real quick. At the bottom of the VHS tape, it goes, "And don't miss the net," starring Sandra Bullock. Don't worry, I won't miss the net. I have it here. Again, sorry for Boys Month. I know this is a movie about a lady and her problems. I didn't realize that going in, but when I said we got to do all the 28 movies, we had to start here.
It also does take a couple of men to tell her how to handle her problems and how to cure herself. That is true. Days. Straighten her out.
The director of this movie, I'm actually familiar with, Betty Thomas, who directed the Howard Stern movie Private Parts, which I reviewed on here, and she would end up directing Alvin and the Chipmunks, the Squeakquel. That was a thing that she would end up directing.
I like how the TM is placed in a way where it seems like they've copyrighted the word chipmunks. This trademark.
It really does. Yeah, they didn't really think that out quite well enough. I really like this movie. It was fun little character drama. I liked learning everyone's different issues. I like how she goes into the program thinking she's better than it. She slowly learns to be accepting and whatnot. Of course, the main her fiance or boyfriend in it is Dominic West, who he's British, right? What's his accent?
Sounded British. He went on to play Jigsaw, I think, right, in the Punisher Warzone.
Yes, and he was also in The Wire and 300. He was in a lot of stuff. Yes, famous English actor. He is an enabler of Gwen's lifestyle. He wants her to be drunk all the time and partying. He's showing up to rehab with cigarettes and alcohol.
Sneaking pills in her pocket.
Sneaking pills into her pocket. Really, really enabling her. She ends up, spoilers. I mean, I'm not saying she was cured. You know, once an addict, you're always an addict, Gil. Those are the rules. But she learns to cope with all her issues, and she realizes that he's an enabler. And she cuts him off, and he was very, very upset. And I assumed that this breakup really took a toll on him. Obviously, he loves drugs and stuff, so he decided to go back to foggy London town and study the things that make him very rageful and study how people react to things. And I think he is what leads into the next few films we're going to talk about. I think this situation really scarred him. And he had to figure out the human psyche to figure out why he lost Sandra Bullock instead of just looking at himself like Sandra Bullock did.
Guys will sooner create a rage virus to take care of their problems and go to therapy.
Exactly. Am I the problem? I don't know. Let me pull apart this chimp and mess with its brain, and then we'll see what happens. But yes, 28 Days, really good movie. I mean, it kind of glosses over like the chemical effect that drugs and stuff do to you. It's more like, oh, you just got to snap out of it and learn to be happy again. I'm like, well, yeah, I mean, if you do it for so many years, it becomes a chemical thing. You kind of glossed over that part. A lot of great actors in it.
Apparently a Golden Girls episode where one of them gets hooked on painkillers or something.
Yeah.
And like, we're going to help you get over this. So they keep her up all night. And then once the sun comes up, they're like, we did it. It's like she's cured now because she made it through one night and the sun came up.
I mean, look, Golden Girls, like they were elderly. I'm like, maybe they're allowed to have painkillers. Maybe they're allowed to have it. It was fun. One fun connection here. So you get like a young Alan Tudyk in this movie, Viggo Mortensen.
Which I don't know what he was doing in this movie, like performance wise.
What are you talking about? That's what gay men were like in the 90s in movies, Gil. But did you not watch Will and Grace? Do you not, you know, Just Jack and Will and Grace? That's what they were like in the 90s in movies. Okay. I do love the shirt he's wearing at the end, which is him naked. Like a shirt. I'm like, I need to actually hunt down that shirt. I'd love to have that. But one of the older women in it, not Margot Martindale, famous character actress Margot Martindale. That's a BoJack Horseman.
BoJack.
Yeah. Thank you for getting that.
A reference wrapped in a reference. That's beautiful.
Thank you. But the other elderly lady in this was Diane Ladd, Laura Dern's mother. Because Laura Dern was in Jurassic Park, and of course we all know Diane Ladd from Carnosaur, which was released 4 weeks before Jurassic Park. And guys, I know I already have the commentary track for it, but there might be a Carnosaur review on the way on a little channel that talks about movies from the dumpster. If you catch what I'm picking up, what I'm throwing down, whatever the expression is. But yes, 28 Days, really, really good film. I highly suggest you watch it. It's on Hulu right now.
If we're actually reviewing it, I'll throw my 2 cents in and say I thought it was pretty mediocre. I think it's sort of a dark comedy, but it never really melds the comedy with the dark material. It's sort of like there's a decent story in there. Sandra Bullock gives a great performance, and every once in a while, just through sheer performance, she'll move you, but it's surrounded by sitcom level antics that aren't very funny and painful to get through. But there's some good stuff buried in there.
So what you're saying is that you liked that this series took a shift into horror and action afterwards.
I think that they corrected the formula going forward.
Yes. So this movie comes out, it does okay. And then a few years later, Danny Boyle and Alex Garland, they come up with a sequel. I don't know why they didn't bring back Betty Thomas or whatever, or Sandra Bullock. They decided to make a sequel called 28 Days Later from 2002. Now, let me pull up the little synopsis here. A group of misguided animal rights activists free a caged chimp infected with the rage virus from a medical research lab. When London, there's a picture of it. Sorry. When London bike courier Jim Cillian Murphy, who also had a cameo in The Dark Knight Rises, much like me, wakes up from a coma a month after he finds the city all but deserted. On the run from the zombie-like victims of the rage, Jim stumbles upon a group of survivors, including Selena, Naomi Harris, and cab driver Frank, Brendan Gleeson, and joins them on a perilous journey to what he hopes will be safety. Spoiler, it's not safety. It's a setup, and a lot of shit's going to hit the fan. And that's 28 Days Later. Now, Gil, when did you first see this movie?
I think I saw it within a couple of years of it coming out.
Yeah, I think I rented it with my friend Anthony. Mm-hmm. And we watched it, and this is one of those, like, I was too young to appreciate it the first time I watched it. Because it was 2002, and I was like 12. I wanted like more. I'm watching like the Dawn of the Dead and stuff. Like, I wanted more zombie action, more gore. And this was like too slow paced for me.
Yeah, I think for me, honestly, this was early on in my ability to access R-rated movies.
Okay,
like we rented it at home and watched it, so I had not yet been desensitized to horror. So for me at the time, this was more zombie-like action than I'd seen in any movie, and I also was not used to having anything subverted. The idea of going for rescue, I was too young to know. Obviously, that's going to go poorly. Yeah. So when things go insane at the end, it blew my mind. I loved the movie the first time I saw it, but then when you come back to it years later, you start to appreciate more of the layers beneath just the action and the thriller side of it.
Yes, I was going to say, I didn't appreciate it the first time. And also, I see someone in the chat, and I remembered I have to show something that they did recently. I didn't appreciate it the first time I watched it. And then years later, skipping ahead just a little bit, I did watch 28 Weeks Later, and I remember liking that one right away. And I went, what was the difference here? And then I went back and watched 28 Days Later, and it was like the Danny DeVito meme. I get it. I get it now. I finally get it. I enjoyed it way more when I went back and revisited. I guess I just had a bunch of I had too many expectations of what the movie was. I kept hearing it was so good, and I don't know. I guess I was expecting something bigger. But real quick, our good fan AJ Wizzle, who was in the chat, he actually wrote an article recently for Zeus Media about 28 Days Later and how effective it was. And I like this. He mentions that the camera they used. This is like. And he was doing this for a while, Danny Boyle. He was making these like big movies, and he was using just like cameras you could just buy in a store for them. He shot like a couple things on like DV. What does this say, AJ? It was a Canon XL1, handheld DV camera to shoot most of the movie or some of the movie, I think. And it definitely does have that early digital feel of digital video. And it gives the movie a really unique look. How do you feel about like the way the movie looks?
Oh, I love it. I mean, I don't think it was entirely an artistic choice. Like, some of it was literally, we need to keep the budget down.
Yeah.
We need to we need cameras that are very maneuverable. Like when we're trying to shoot the streets, we want to get them as empty as possible. Okay, now it's good. Shoot it for like 3 seconds. They have to be very easy to pick up, turn on, and put down. But I think it ended up working very well for the movie because it gives it a sort of found footage feel. Like, even when the title comes up 28 Days Later, it's not presented as a title card. It's presented as if this were a documentary. It's saying 28 years after the events you just witnessed, or 28 days later after these events, now this happens. It gives the movie such a grounded feel. And I feel like, especially when you're dealing with fantastical stuff like zombie-like creatures, the more grounded you can make it feel, obviously, the more impact it's going to have when the carnage actually comes.
Yeah, I also think other directors tried to do this at some point. I think Michael Mann did that movie, Public Enemies, from 2009 with Johnny Depp. Did you ever see that one?
No, I don't think so.
And I think if I remember right, someone verify this for me, but I think he also shot like some of the scenes on digital video in addition to like film. Hold on, I'm trying to see it here.
That stuff is always disappointing. You're like, I can make a movie. Like even 28 years later, we shot it on iPhones, and you look at all the behind the scenes videos. You're like, well, what's all that stuff you have attached to the iPhone?
Yeah, he shot it with like an F23 digital camera, like a Sony. And apparently, I remember people at the time thinking like, I feel like that movie should have looked better, but it kind of looked cheap. So yeah, there was that weird period where people were trying to switch over to like digital stuff, and now everything's pretty much shot.
It's also there's a lot of there's all the context around the movie, and when it's like a big budget filmmaker who's using the cheaper camera on purpose, it just hits you differently. For 28 Days Later, when like you can feel that like DIY energy behind the movie of like we're like a scrappy production, and I think you almost subconsciously allow it more. It doesn't come off as disingenuous or cheesy that they're shooting it this way.
But yeah, I really, really like this film. I love that it skips over the whole like initial zombie apocalypse. First off, the fucking idiots who let the chimpanzee out. Okay, they didn't know it was a rage-infected chimpanzee, right? They didn't know. They didn't know. They should have like taken pictures and stuff and went back and reported it or something, because a regular, not rage-infected chimpanzee, I don't want to let that out of its cage when I'm around it in like a small room. It's gonna murder me.
Right, like, that's clearly agitated, like whether it's infected with agitation or just has it. You don't want to let it out. Like, are we equipped to take care of this animal?
Yeah, chimpanzees, once they hit like puberty and get to a certain age, like they can't be around humans anymore. That's why like all the ones in movies are like younger. Like I'm not gonna be like, look at this. Isn't this awful what they're doing? Should we let them out? Oh God, no, leave them in there. Someone else can let them out. I don't have any. They didn't have tranq guns or anything. I don't know what they were gonna do. There are like 17 chimps in that lab. What the fuck were they planning on doing?
It is funny because I do feel like it's unintentionally sort of counter to a lot of the messaging in these movies, which is by the end, it's very distrustful of governments and the army, people who are supposed to protect us, or even the fact that they were manufacturing this virus to begin with. Yeah. And they don't get into a lot of what are they actually trying to achieve. I mean, besides the one line of like, in order to control, first you must understand. And even in the script, there's like a little bit more context given. Okay. I forget the exact quote, but the implication is basically they want to be able to, just imagine to have power over all the things we feel we can't control, anger, violence. The implication I get from that is they would use it for essentially crowd control. Like if you ever saw the movie Equilibrium, where everyone's taking pills to like tamp down their emotions, like you get the vibe that they're trying to manufacture this dystopian future in that lab. So like we should not trust the government, but then the ones who screw everything up are these animal activists who you think would be kind of on the side of the filmmakers for these movies.
Yeah. I guess there are really no good guys in this situation. But yeah, I liked Cillian Murphy when he wakes up going around like London and it's just completely empty. And now it makes me sad whenever I see London attack, because I'm always like, oh, my good friend Manny Muskets is from there. I hope Manny's okay. I hope his family's okay over there. But yeah, so he's walking around. I love when he finds those. Fuck you, they're zombies. I'm calling them zombies. Do you get hung up on the zombie thing though? You should call them infected.
No, so the way I finally, this has been a paradox in my mind ever since I saw this movement. How do I reconcile this complication? Are they zombies or not? And this is what I finally came down on. If you have a friend who's just getting into movies, they see Dawn of the Dead, they see Return of the Dead, Return of the Living Dead. They're like, I love zombie movies, man. You're a film fan. Do you have any other zombie movies to recommend? And then in your mind, like, I can't say 28 Days Later. They're technically not zombies. If he then saw the movie later, he would come back and be like, hey, why didn't you tell me about this great movie? And I'm like, well, technically, it's not a zombie movie. And to me, Go ahead.
You know what pisses me off? The whole technically not a zombie. It's like, okay, well, the zombie movies you're thinking of are not technically zombies. That's a Haitian voodoo thing.
Right.
Where you're supposed to do like a spell and everything. So if we're going to get really like nitpick everything, like they're not fucking zombies either. It's just an easy way to say what the name of that it's like calling the creature Frankenstein. It's like, we know that's not like the name. We know that's not right. It just makes it easier for everyone. Come on.
They're not zombies, but it's a good shorthand. And this is clearly in the zombie genre. That's where I come down on it.
Yeah, it's like, okay, not every vampire or werewolf has the same rules and abilities and stuff, but you still call them vampires or werewolves. This is fine. I did love in the newest movie, skipping ahead, they did refer to them as zombies. I'm like, oh, thank God they said it. They said it in universe so we can stop fighting about this shit.
Oh, I saw an interview with Alex Garland where they're like, so you guys finally used the word zombie. And he looked so confused. He was like, what? When are you talking about? Like, he just couldn't care less about it and didn't even remember it. And then, so they actually a couple days ago started selling the screenplay as a book, and I was curious and I picked it up. Yeah. And the word zombie is not in the screenplay, so I think Danny Boyle added it during filming. And maybe in that interview, Garland was like, "Wait, what? They're not zombies? Who put that in my movie?"
He just rips up the scripts for the next 3 movies that they're planning. I don't want anything to do with this. So one thing I like about the zombies in this is that you get around a lot of the old like cliches and stuff. So you get bitten, you're a zombie almost right away. And I love that moment where he meets up with Selena, or is it Celine or Selena? Hold on,
I believe it's Selena, pretty sure.
Yes, it is Selena.
Yeah.
When Jim meets up with Selena, she's there with another guy, and he gets bit just a little bit, and she, without hesitation, just hacks him up with a machete. She's not taking any chances. So, if blood gets into your mouth or your eyes or any open wounds, or if they bite you, you're a zombie. It's like 10, 13 seconds max, and you switch. So, we get rid of the cliche of, oh, I got bit and I have to hide it. It's funny when Shaun of the Dead made fun of it, but then zombie movies kept doing that cliche afterwards. And it's like, all right, no, this guy's getting a little old here. It's kind of hard to do this cliche now.
I mean, once a genre has parodied itself, and then it becomes a zombie genre, basically.
Yeah.
But they turn up the zombies to the extreme in every respect with how quickly they turn you. Of course, the fact that they run, and every time they show up, they're breaking through a window or crashing through something. So it's loud. The music kicks in. There's always a character yelling someone's name. Like one of the parts of the movie that's imprinted in my memory from the first time I saw it, when they're running up the stairs, like, Selena! It's him yelling over and over. It's just, you're terrified every time they show up.
Yeah, and you're right. So they are 100% rage all the time. I love when he finds them in the church. They're like not technically sleeping, I think. I just think they're like conserving energy because they've run out of things to rage against, and they just look like they're comatose. And I love when they wake up and they like can't run yet because I think their like limbs need to wake up a little bit.
Well,
that scene terrified me in the church when he's like, hello, and the one guy just turns up and just freezes. I'm like, oh God, that's so fucking scary.
I also love how it's a little bit undefined exactly what they're doing. Like, they're not trying to eat you. Like, they'll bite you, and maybe they'll eat you a little, but it's not like they've become cannibals. It's like literally they've just turned up the rage impulse, turned off everything else, and they're just existing on pure instinct.
Well, they want to attack and kill, but I think once your blood's infected, they know that you're one of them, so they stop. So I think that's why they don't really eat you too much. They do kill people. I think that's just like they go a little too hard, too fast. It is like regular zombie movies, like Dawn of the Dead. They rip that guy up into like 500 pieces. Like, well, he's not coming back as a zombie. They got a little carried away with that one.
Right? Yeah, that is always a weird contradiction in zombie movies. It's like, well, they want to eat you, but biting you is what turns you into. I guess you can die in any manner, and it turns you into a zombie. So you'll always have a healthy supply.
Yeah. But with these, I just think the infection takes over so quick. So once they realize it's in your system, they're just like, okay, I'm going to leave this guy alone. And then they come up and they become, because we see, like, as soon as they get bit, they just join along. They're like, cool, yeah, I'm with you guys. It's awesome.
Right.
I like Jim. I do like when he meets with Brendan Gleeson, Frank, but No offense to the little girl, but she's not the best actress. She's not the best actress. So there's a really dark moment later on where they drug her to cope with something horrible that's about to happen. And she's acting all like loosey-goosey. And it wasn't much different than her regular acting. Like, I know she's supposed to be drugged and tired, but like she kind of sounded like that to begin with. So I'm like, I feel like this isn't hitting as hard as it should.
Yeah, we must work together, and together maybe we can find hope.
Yeah. She kind of brings the movie down. Everyone else is great in this. Everyone else went into great things. Naomi Harris got to be Moneypenny in the James Bond movies, and she was in an okay Pirates of the Caribbean movie, and then she was in that terrible one where she turned into a giant and became crabs.
Yeah, it might have been when I stopped watching those movies.
You know what? Good place to jump off. Really good place to jump off there. Yeah, so I like some of the moment, like some of the quieter moments of this movie. I really like when Jim like finds his parents, and we find out that like they basically committed suicide, so they didn't have to deal with all this, and because they thought mistakenly that he was dead, because like, well, he's in the hospital in the middle of the city, clearly he's dead. So although his room must have been super fortified, why didn't no raid zombie go in there and get him?
Yeah, well, they do say on the note they left him, they were like, "Don't wake up." So that made me think they knew he was still alive, but they figured he's probably not going to come out of this coma. So they assumed like he'll go in his sleep, it'll be peaceful.
Even if he could come out of the coma, there's zombies everywhere, so he's not going to make it very far. Yeah, so I like that moment, and then I like later on where Brendan Gleeson wakes him up and he's still half asleep. And he calls Brendan Gleeson like dad. So like he's still it hasn't fully sunk into him yet. And I love the dream sequence he has. There's this
really sees, like the horses running around.
Yeah, it was like sheep and horse running and using. I don't know. There's a lot of dream-like moments in this, and I think the DV camera actually helps with that. Give it like this unnatural look. So yeah, I really like those moments. The movie
on that point though, where you're saying it feels like dreamlike, I would say throughout the movie it often has a really surreal feeling, and I think that's part of what makes the movie so special. Like even you mentioned earlier that awesome moment where right after he comes out of the coma, it's surreal seeing him run around and start picking up money as if that's going to do anything for him. And that awesome music kicks in. There's even one part, like another surreal moment where they all get to the grocery store and like they're laughing and having a great time, which just feels weird in this context. Right after that scene, as they're driving away, they do something weird with like the camera filter and they make it literally look like they're driving through a painting where you see like the flower bed looks like Van Gogh drew it. So the movie just, and I think it's funny because one of the ways I compliment the movie is by saying how real it feels. But I think sometimes life feels surreal. Like if you were to wake up in the middle of a zombie apocalypse, it would be that feeling of this can't be true. Even Jim says, I wake up in the hospital, I'm hallucinating or something. Like he doesn't know what's going on. And they make you feel that so well.
Yeah. And I like the two different, I like that everyone else has experienced this like pandemic in two different ways. So like Frank and his daughter were like barricaded in the apartment. Selena's been on the ground fighting these things. So like Jim is the 28 days behind everyone else, and so they have to like have him like catch up. I do like it explores like certain things in zombie apocalypse that you wouldn't think about. It's like, oh, he's crashes. Yeah, all we have is sugar. Like literally, I'm finding food that's all just high in sugar, and you're crashing, so I can give you aspirin and more sugar.
He's like, I have a headache. I don't feel good. She's like, why didn't you say anything? I'm like, because you've been talking to me like this the whole time. I didn't think you'd care.
Yeah, at some point, Selena's got to be like, oh, right, you've been asleep for 28 days. I did like when Frank had all the buckets on the roof and they're in foggy London town. He's like, yeah, it hasn't rained. We're only in bloody London. Like, I was really banking on it at raining at some point so I could drink this, but I can't.
And he's such like he really does feel like a father figure. Like when Jim finds him, like the movie just feels safer and he's like a little bit happier than everybody else, which is such a perfect contrast. Like you said with the girl, when she starts acting different, you barely notice. But him, when he loses his temper later and when he's yelling, like that really lands because the rest of the movie, you're like, I love this guy.
Yeah, he's really cool. I love when he just knocks that zombie down the stairwell. And I love the dummy of it just hitting every freaking guardrail in between the stairs. That was so
They
cool.
beat John Wick 4 to it by about like 20 years.
So yeah, the movie then takes a shift. When Frank dies, he gets real mad. So they've been following this radio broadcast to come to this thing. The cure is here. The
answer to infection
is here. The answer to infection is here. So they're making their way. They come to a blockade. Frank gets mad. He yells at some crows. Okay.
I remember the phrasing. He was like, "Get out of it. Get out of it." And I'm like, that's a sentence I've never said before, but he really says it in a very memorable way. Yeah.
Listen, I said this movie avoided a lot of cliches. You'll still get characters doing something stupid. Like, just leave the crow alone. Who cares? So yeah, the crow just gets blood into Frank's eye, drives him nuts, and they have to mercy kill. And this is the second person, because I forgot Jim kills like a kid, and that's like the first infected that he killed. And I love that he's like, everything okay? He's like, yeah, everything's fine. Like, he just doesn't want to admit that, like, what he just did. Which again is also from Dawn of the Dead, when what's his face has to kill the two kids when they fueled up the helicopter. So yeah, Frank dies, and then they meet the military. Mm-hmm. Who is that? Christopher Eccleston, right?
I think that's right.
Yes, of course. We all know him from Thor: The Dark World. And I guess he's like a Doctor Who or something. What else is Christopher Eccleston in? Hold on.
Christopher Eccleston.
Yeah.
Thor: The Dark World. Yeah, you covered that.
Thor: The Dark World. Doctor Who.
3 episodes of True Detective.
Ooh, he did.
I'll say he was perfectly cast in this movie. Like, he played that role so well.
Yes. Oh yeah. Oh, sorry. He was Destro in G.I. Joe: Rise of Cobra, which I reviewed. He was also in The Others. He's Nicole Kidman's ghost husband in The Others, which I also reviewed. So yeah, he is great in this. And this is, again, another zombie cliche where it's like this. You think the zombies are bad. It's actually man. That's the problem. And we saw it. Yeah, we saw it in Night of the Living Dead, where it's like no one can get along in the house and work together. We saw it in Dawn of the Dead, where the biker gang, free of any rules and laws and consequences for their actions, will just turn mad and start killing people for fun, even though there's a zombie apocalypse. They should be working together. So here we learn that the answer to infection is to rebuild again. I do like that he has this guy on a chain. So this is one of his soldiers that got infected. I'm like, why are you keeping him here? He's like, because I want to know if he ever gets tired of this. He's like, and I want to know how long it's going to take for him to starve to death, because these things aren't eating yet. So yeah, it gets real dark, because he's like, yeah, so, I had this whole plan to take over, but my men were getting restless. So I promised them women. It's like, oh shit, this is terrifying. They try to kill Jim. Jim is somehow able to beat all of these guys.
Yeah, well, which I'll say is like part of the reason I love this movie so much is because like nothing feels as good as watching Jim come back and take them all out. And I think like when you start to delve into the layers of this movie, it's about rage. And one of the things that Danny Boyle said drew him to the script is that it's about societal rage. And like the opening images of what the chimp is watching is basically social unrest, uprising. So that's kind of one of the themes. And I think part of what it's saying is that we all have rage inside us. And, Jim obviously becomes the infected. He has to go into a rage in order to defeat them. But I think part of what it's saying is that rage is actually kind of intoxicating. And it is useful in certain circumstances. Like when he needs to go into a rage and kill all these people. And I'll say as a viewer, it feels awesome. Yeah. It's got that great music to it.
Although I don't know. I think freeing the zombie was too big of a risk. I wouldn't have done that part.
Messy.
That's real messy.
Rewatching the movie more recently, if I were to nitpick it, I think this is where some sort of silly stuff happens. Like the Major telling Jim what they're up to. Like, I promised them women. Like, he does that very fast. And he has to know that Jim is not going to go along with it at that point. Maybe he knows he's not going to go along, but he's like, you know what? I'm just going to give it a shot. Why not? But okay, even if you buy that, then when Jim's like, I need to get Hannah and Selena, we need to get out of here. And instead of being like, guys, we got to get out of here, he's like, we have to go. Come on. And he just alerts everybody. So there's some silly stuff, but like the overall arc of it, I really enjoy.
I did like the little operation they had there where they just set up mines during the day and they just call the zombies and just like annihilate them as they're running.
Yeah.
They were gonna be held up there for a while. It was an awkward moment toward the end where like there's like an attempted like assault with the girls and like Selena's like drugging the one girl, Jim's killing everyone, and they're like, this seems like an appropriate time to have a guy scream like a girl in a comedic moment across the street. I'm like, I don't know, maybe earlier. I'm like, and now it's now
part
I got
of
a lot
of surrealism. It's wacky. It's weird.
I just love the like the guy coming in after.
Well, I love when you first arrive.
Yeah.
Like, you don't know what to expect. And, like, the first thing you see is that all these soldiers are acting like children.
Yeah.
Like, one of them's wearing an apron and, like, acting silly. One of them's, like, driving the car around. And he's like, I need the food so I can cook. And you're like, oh, boy. Like, at the best case scenario, they're incompetent. Worst case, they're up to something devious.
Like, I don't think these guys were put on the front lines for a reason. And now that's just
why were they the ones who survived? They were the ones back at camp, you know?
But I love the colonel or whatever's like speech. He's like, you know what I saw today? People killing people. You know what I saw before that? People killing people. He's like, that's just like a normal thing. Humanity's gonna kill each other. And like, someone should raise their hands. Like, yeah, I know what you're like doing, buddy, but this is like a totally different thing.
And
this isn't killing because they're choosing. This is like their brain has been rewired. They don't really have any free will. Like, it's a little different this time. We can all agree.
Right. I think it's like that ties into Selena's whole arc in the movie because she starts out with a similar mindset.
Yeah.
Where, you know, she's become very cynical and she probably had to in order to survive. You know, she became hardened. But you find out that when you have a certain worldview, you're going to find a pile of evidence to support it because you're not seeing and not looking for the other side of it, you know, until she met Frank and Hannah, and she sees it's all, to be honest, it's like pretty on the nose, like it's all kind of spelled out. She's like, I thought there was no reason to live, but now I see them together, they're fine because they have each other. I mean, honestly, it works. Like, I feel like in this context where you've created basically a quarantined apocalypse, you turn the temperature up on everything, people are going to have conversations that they wouldn't have in the real world. Like, she might say her feelings, even if it comes off as a little bit like she is kind of spelling out the theme in the subtext, but I feel like it works.
Yeah. Real quick, it's interesting that it doesn't transfer to animals at all. I guess except chimpanzees. How many chimpanzees are in? Let me see.
You know, I think I feel like a lot of these decisions are probably budgetary decisions. Like, it would be tough to have we have to now have a bunch of zombified horses and squirrels running around. Like, the other thing is there's like really no bodies on the streets. And if you listen to them, they'll kind of sell that as like part of the surrealism. Like, it just feels spookier and weird to see totally empty streets. Not exactly realistic.
Yeah, that was hold on, oh god, I skipped too far ahead. Hold on. There's we don't see a lot of this.
Yeah.
There would be more dead bodies. Like, not everyone would become infected. Some of them are going to die in the process. Hold on, let me see here. Do we have a number?
I feel like even the core decision of having him wake up, you know, and it's been 28 days, like, to show the breakout and show the downfall of society would probably cost a lot of money. And it ends up working out really well. Like, it's such an interesting decision to start 28 days in. Guy wakes up from a coma, so he's in the same boat as we are. It's all new to us. But yeah, I don't know if that was fully an artistic decision.
Well, listen. I couldn't find out how many chimpanzees were in England in 2002.
I forgot what you were working on over there.
But as of right now, there are more than 300 great apes in the UK zoos in total. Now, it just says great apes. Specifically, the Chester Zoo has 26 chimpanzees. Oh, yeah, no, all right, so there's a bunch of chimpanzees in zoos. Technically, if a rage-infected person were to break into a zoo, would it attack a chimpanzee? Is that close enough to humanity? And will we get zombie chimpanzees?
Are we going to get like a Planet of the Apes by way of 28 days later?
With rage chimps. That'd be awesome. Yeah, because they never show, like, usually with zombie stuff, it doesn't transfer to animals really without, like Resident Evil, they're doing it on purpose and shit. So yeah, that would have been cool to actually see. At first, I thought, like, is the crow infected by the virus? I'm like, I don't think so. I think
he was like picking at a dead body, right?
He was picking at a dead body, but I think that's just like what they do. But in my mind, I misremembered until I watched it. I was like, "Hey, were the crows infected?" Like, no, I'm just thinking of Resident Evil, and I'm mixing up the two.
Spit at him.
Yeah. So the movie ends with them getting away, and 28 days later, Jim wakes up again. And they're looking for, they're trying to get the attention of a jet. And I like that we see that the outbreak stopped because eventually they stopped turning people into infected because they all got too sick and tired and they weren't eating because they were so full of rage and they all just starved to death. And they got like the thinnest people in the world to sit there and just like gasp for air. And I'm like, that is actually a kind of cool way because they are technically still alive. They're infected with rage and their whole bodies been taken over by this virus, but they're still like a living, breathing thing that needs sustenance. So that was kind of a cool way to end your apocalypse. It's like, oh, they killed too many people and now they aren't eating. So of course, after like a month or so, most of them are gonna die out.
Right. That's one of those images seared into my brain. Is that super emaciated guy just like laying on his side? Yeah.
Now, this movie had multiple endings. It was going to end differently where after they crashed through the gate, it was going to cut to Selena and what's her face trying to revive Jim, doing whatever they could to bring him back. And it just doesn't work. He ends up dying. And then they end up trying to call the jet on their own with their big hello sign. I do like that because he's constantly saying hello throughout the whole film. Hello, hello, hello. So to end on hello is pretty funny. Now,
and it lets you do the thing where for a second it just says hell.
Yeah. Now, this movie was going to have a totally different third act. You know about this, right?
Yeah, I remember seeing this on like when I first started buying DVDs. This was one of the first extras I watched. Yeah.
It includes 3 killer alternate endings, although the one alternate ending is just the prologue to the previous alternate ending. That will haunt you for days.
That's not even that impressive. Haunt you for days.
By the way, speaking of DVD, the back of this friggin' thing, I had the full screen version. It doesn't tell you like anything about the movie. It just goes, hailed as the most frightening film since The Exorcist. Acclaimed director Danny Boyle's groundbreaking take on zombie horror isn't just scary, it's absolutely terrifying. No plot synopsis or anything. It's just telling you the movie's good and fuck The Exorcist.
It's really good. Trust us.
It's really good. Hey, you know that movie from the 70s? Fuck that. This movie's better. It's like a lot of horror movies were made after The Exorcist. Why are you going after that one?
One girl projectile vomiting? How about everyone projectile vomiting? Blood.
So I rewatched this again today, and it's got narration from like Danny Boyle, I think. And they were playing with an idea to have like a smaller scale third act. I guess maybe they thought maybe the ending they had with the military and everything might have been too expensive. So they started playing with the idea like, how about we change this? So what was going to happen was they were going to get there. Frank was going to get infected. Instead of killing him, they would knock him out and tie him up. Then that barricade, instead of being a barricade to where the soldiers live, it was going to be to a lab. And they were going to walk around the lab and they were going to find the last surviving guy who works there, barricaded in by himself. And they try to communicate with him. And he lets them know the only way they can really save Frank is if they drain all of his blood and pump new blood in a very specific way that's very convoluted.
A 100% full blood transfusion. There cannot be one drop of infected blood left in his body.
I don't think that's possible, really, right? Because the heart like pumps it to all the different stuff. Like, I feel like that's really impossible to do. I don't know. Let us know. Or any of you scientists, let me know. So yeah, by the way, this reminds me of I really like the vampire movie Near Dark. Have you ever seen Near Dark by Catherine Bigelow?
No, I haven't.
It's a cult film now, but it was directed by Catherine Bigelow, who did like The Hurt Locker, very early movie of hers. And funny enough, ex-wife of James Cameron, a bunch of the cast of Aliens is in it. You have Lance Henriksen, Bill Paxton and stuff. Really good, underrated vampire movie. But at the end, they come up with this fucking blood transfusion thing. And I think if I remember right, even she wasn't thrilled with it to cure the guy of his vampirism. And the movie kind of loses me there. So yeah, they told him like you have to do a complete blood transfusion. So then Jim decides he's going to give all his blood to Frank. I guess because they want to see if it will work, because maybe it'll help the world. Mm-hmm. I mean, I guess you'd have to go. But
you'd still just be like, it almost is like you'd have to start trading lives, like to get that much blood.
Well, okay, not as cynical. My idea is like you could go to a blood bank and make this work. You don't have to drain a person. If you know what the cure is and you have enough blood as a stockpile, you could probably figure it out.
But if you want to, you could drain a person. Yeah. It's an option.
But it was going to work. Frank was going to come back to life, and they were going to cut to Jim on a table. But then it was going to be the same room that the chimp from the beginning was in. And they said like there was going to be this ominous thing where all the TVs would turn on, and they would be all the rage stuff. Because remember, they had like the chimp plugged into stuff, watching like horrible, violent shit. I guess to manufacture the rage. I don't know. They never really get into how it was made. But yeah, that would have been one of the endings. I do like this idea of the last shot being similar to the first shot in the movie.
That would definitely be like a memorable bookend for sure.
Yes, but this is lame. I don't like this. I don't like this. I like that Jim survives at the end. But I think the way they went was better. I know people have this idea that like the deleted ending or deleted scenes are like the better version of something. It's like, yeah, there's a lot of movies that were screwed over in editing and changed, but that's not always the case. Sometimes whatever they landed on is the thing they should have went with. And this is an example of that.
Yeah, and like if I recall correctly, in the voiceover when he's explaining all this, at the end he says why they didn't do this. And it's exactly what we were saying, where he's like, we realize there's no way we could sell the idea that they get literally every drop of blood out of his body. Yeah. And I think it is a more exciting ending that they went with. Yeah. And it still gives you a sort of a more interesting and like thematically resonant bookend. The idea of Jim, quote unquote, becoming the infected. Yeah. And then that great line where he's like, that was longer than a heartbeat. It lands so well. You can definitely sense in the movie there's like a degree of we don't know how to end it. Because when they crash to the gate and it freeze frames, it almost feels like a placeholder. We need to think of an ending. Yeah. And I feel like they didn't want to go with a full-on happy ending. So they kind of went with a happy-ish and weird ending where, okay, they're alive, but it still has that dreamlike, surreal feeling. Like I mentioned before as Jim is waking up, there's a shot that's like upside down where it just says hell. And you're like, what the heck is going on? So it's okay, everybody lives, except for Frank, but the jet isn't stopping for them. So it's a happy-ish ending.
Honestly, the jet couldn't stop. There's no runway there.
Right.
I mean, obviously they want the jet to call like a boat or something to bring them up. What, did you think the jet was going to land and like have them hop in?
Just slow down, do a little flyby, and just jump on.
That's not how jets work, Gil.
I've seen people do it. I think Steve Rogers did that in one of the Captain Americas.
Oh, yes. Sorry. Captain America. Yeah. So yeah, I really like 28 Days Later. Like I said, didn't like it when I was younger. Really grown to appreciate it. Really, really, really enjoy it. I'm glad I held on to my DVD all these years, because right before 28 Years Later, everyone was like, there's nowhere to watch it.
Which was really bad marketing. Like, there's going to be a surge of interest in these movies. Yeah. And then it's like, once everybody's asking for it, they're like, all right, I guess maybe we should put that out there. Maybe we should release these movies. It's so dumb.
There were legal shenanigans around this, which I guess we could probably touch on at some point. But we got to get to the next movie on the list, which was 28 Weeks Later. Let me bring up the synopsis here. Hold on. Okay, let me move it over here. All right.
I mean, they don't even bother to put a synopsis on the DVD. Why do we need to?
Well, this one's
scariest movie since 28 Days Later.
This is a screen grab, but let me check the actual one. Does this? Okay, yeah. This one actually does have a synopsis on
it. Thank God.
Thank God. Okay. Does this match? Yeah, it matches it. The terror and devastation released in 28 Days Later picks up 6 months after the rage virus has decimated London in this heart-stopping horror.
Decimated? Oh, it reduced the population by 10%. Okay.
Yes.
Because that's the technical definition.
Decimated. This heart-stopping sequel that surpasses the original. With order restored and the war against the infected won, the U.S. Army steps in. They always fix things. If there's a country in trouble, send the U.S. Army in. Fixed like that. The order restored, the war against the infection won. The U.S. Army steps in to help repatriate mainland Britain. Why wouldn't we just claim it for ourselves? Like, think about it realistically. Why wouldn't we? There's no government or anything. I mean, who's going to stop us? Who would stop us? They should have been. We should have just taken it for. I think that was the long con. Like, well, since we're doing everything, I guess you'll be the 51st state. I think we're all cool with that.
Yeah. They could, if that was a plot thread in this movie, I think it might be a very different conversation today. Like, remember 28 weeks later? What a weird... The political messaging, I'm not really sure how to read it.
You know what? I think that's the underlying thing. I think America volunteered just so they can have it later.
We'll do it. We'll do it. We got this.
We'll do it. We got this one. All the other countries are like, we live a lot closer. Don't worry about it. It's fine. So yeah, repatriate mainland Britain, but one of the returning refugees. Oh, Idris Elba's in the movie. One of the returning refugees, I missed my spot, carries a terrible secret that threatens to reignite the deadly explosion of bloodlust, carnage, and chaos. With riveting DVD extras and intense footage not seen in theaters, 28 weeks later ratchets up the thrills. Hold on for a hell of a ride, Rollins.
They need to, they used to do like In a World, and they don't really do that anymore. You should be doing those voiceovers.
I should.
Chaos, and then you're not going to believe what happens next. It's
crazy. This movie's awesome.
Oh, this movie's awesome. Is it? I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah, no, this movie's awesome, but it is kind of, it feels a little safe.
Yes.
Because they're like, hey, you know how that last movie didn't show the zombie outbreak like other movies do? What if we did what other movies did? And it's like, oh, okay. That was kind of the thing that made the last one stand out, but all right. No, I really, really enjoy this one because it also is like man's hubris. They're like, yeah, we'll just go in, we'll fix it all up. And the one girl's like, I think it's too early for us to be doing any of this. Rose Byrne's character, she's like, no, we shouldn't be doing this. It's too early to bring people in. Can we not? Can we get this locked down? Because they haven't like fully cleared out the country.
Well, Idris Elba, he makes a very compelling argument. Is what are you worried about? Well, the virus might come back. It won't. Okay. All right, cool. All right, let's move on then.
It's like, you don't know. Like, new people were probably getting... Well, we learn in the last one that they didn't do a good job of clearing out the country because people have been there since the initial outbreak. I guess they started in London. They're like, yeah, we'll get to the rest of it at some point. It's like, well, what if someone migrates down, you assholes? You really got to think about this. So yeah, they try to repopulate everything. This one guy who survives in the beginning, he's like a higher up there, I guess.
He's like they call him like a caretaker, basically.
Yes,
so he has access to the entire facility
because he's a local there. He survived. He wasn't infected. We see him in the beginning. I want to say he's pulling a Tony and just leaving his wife behind, but that's not quite a Tony because he actually hesitated and thought about it. I wouldn't have even gone up the stair. As soon as the zombie's there, I'm out the door and I'm gone. I was like, "Yep, she died." Nothing I could do to stop her.
Yeah. Rewatching the movie again for this, I always in my mind remembered it like the choice was obvious. Like there really was no option to help that kid. Because that was the dilemma. Him and his wife are running. She sees the kid. She's like, let's go back and help him. And in my mind, going back to help him was absolute death. There was no question. Watching it again, they do have a few seconds before the zombie breaks in. So if there was zero hesitation, they might have been able to grab that kid and leave, which I think is interesting if there is at least some doubt that, it's easy to kind of not judge him and say, well, what was he supposed to do?
Yeah. No, I'm on his side. But I do like that he's like lying to the kids about it a little bit.
Right.
A little bit.
And I think like the movie obviously judges him. Yeah. Like there's a few characters who sacrifice themselves in heroic ways. And the movie starts with him choosing not to sacrifice himself. And the movie clearly hates him for it and gives him the worst ending possible.
I know, really.
But I think like, okay, if you can give him some leeway for that initial decision. Where I think the movie starts to judge him more harshly is when he lies to the kids and never really confronts his guilt. He just sort of tries to lie to himself and say, no, I definitely saw her die. And I tried to save her, but I couldn't.
I mean, he's got a point. It's like, well, the infected all piled onto her and she went up below the window. I just assumed she died, and there's no way for me to go back and check without dying myself.
Arguably, if he had stayed with her, he probably would have got bit, and then he probably would have killed her. Yeah. So like it's so actually, and him running might have even lured some of the monsters away. Yes. And so this might have been the best possible outcome.
Yeah. For whatever reason, they give him access to everything. They're bringing in new people to repopulate, and two of the people are his children. One of them played by Imogen Gay Poots. She dropped the middle name in recent years, but back then she was Imogen Gay Poots, who we all know from the terrible 2019 Black Christmas remake that Johanna and Crystal famously hate. Don't watch that episode though. It's still Boys Month. So that's his kids. They're there. His son has 2 different colored eyes. That's like a plot point. So I like this. So they go to find their childhood home to sneak around the zombie land, and I'm like, that's the worst idea ever. Why would you do that? It's a horrible idea. But they do that because they're idiots.
Because they wanted to grab a picture of their mom. They wanted to run back to their old house and grab a photo because the kid was afraid he was going to forget what she looks like.
No, wait till it's cleared out and rebuilt, and someone will bring you a photo.
Yeah, I think that's a smart way to go.
So what were they doing? Were they just visiting France or something without their parents?
There was something at the beginning. There was a line that was like, "Oh, good thing we were able to afford that school trip." So they were away. Yeah.
Okay. So they find their mother, who's not a zombie lady. I mean, she's obviously crazy because she spent 6 weeks by herself.
Yeah, and she's surrounded by like rotting food, and clearly was not in her right mind. Clearly,
yeah. But they learn that she has a weird genetic mutation, like a natural immunity to this virus, which some people have. Some people could just be naturally immune to things. But she's still a carrier of the virus. And right then and there, I'd be like, "Oh, kill her," or put 100 guards.
That's to me is a part of why I like this movie. I do think it's an enjoyable thriller. It doesn't rise above that the way 28 Days Later does.
I will say it is fun trying to figure out how it's gonna, because you know it's coming, and you're just like, how is it gonna start again? And you're just waiting for the dumbest decisions to be made to get it out there. And so this guy, who as soon as they found out it was his wife, they should have been like, remove his access. Don't even have, just be safe, kill him. Even if he's not, you
can say, okay, they didn't know she was infected. They hadn't proven it yet. Yeah. But she saw that she had the hemorrhaging in her eye. Yeah. And she saw bite marks. Yes. And then she went to go test to see if she's really infected. But while you have that question in your mind, you leave her entirely unguarded. Yeah. She's behind a locked door. Her husband has an all-access pass to the entire facility.
Right away, disable his access, put him in jail, because he's going to do something stupid. And, of course, he does. He goes there, and he kisses her, and he gets the freaking rage. And then he gouges her eyes out. Too much eye gouging. Come on.
Which, if you listen to the director commentary, what they were saying there is that he feels so guilty over what he did that he can't look her in the eyes. So even as a rage-infected person, that was still there, and that's why he went for the eyes. It also works as a callback to Jim when he gouged out that guy's eyes.
There's a lot of eye gouging in these. Not a big fan of those. So the zombie outbreak starts again. I like Rose Byrne is just like, this is exactly what I thought was going to happen, and no one listens.
Not now, Rose.
And I think this is like my first exposure to Jeremy Renner. Really, this is like his first standout role for me. I know he was.
I think for me too. Yeah,
he was in stuff before. When was that Jeffrey Dahmer movie? Hold on, Jeremy.
But we should say, because I don't think we really put a stamp on this, but that opening sequence is a great opening.
When he's running, it's great. I love it.
Like, I'll never forget, like when he's running and the camera's on him, but he's at the edge of the screen, so you can't see what's behind him. It starts spinning around and then reveals the horde of zombies behind him, and then cut to them coming over the hill. So he's completely screwed. So tense. And I think not a coincidence that Danny Boyle directed, I think, one scene in the movie. It wasn't that entire sequence. I think it was specifically when the elderly couple are trying to hold out the zombies from that barn. He directed that scene there. But it didn't surprise me that that's the part where he was involved, because it's definitely the best part of the movie.
We forgot to mention this is directed by Juan Carlos Fresnadillo,
I think.
Fresnadillo. Why didn't I looked this up like a month or two ago and I forgot. Why didn't Danny Boyle come back to direct this one?
Hey, I forget. At one point I knew. I don't know if it was because he was too busy or it was like, we just did that movie, so I don't want to do it again. And Alex Garland, who wrote the first one, also did not write this one. He was involved like in a consulting role.
Yeah. Well, this director has since gone on to do that Millie Bobby Brown movie we reviewed last year, Damsel, where she fights the dragon. Okay, Jeremy Renner. I'm looking before this. I'm not seeing like the Dahmer movie. He's not in National Lampoon's Senior Trip. That was his first movie. But I found a weird connection. Jeremy Renner was in one episode of a TV show that was based off a film. Do you know what the show was?
No.
It was the TV version of The Net, starring Sandra Bullock, but a different girl played her in the TV version.
Wow.
And that's in case you guys are watching this, I just want you all to know we still haven't circled back to Gwen's recovery in the first film. We don't know how rehab is going. I'm hoping at some point later in the sequels, we make sure that Steve Buscemi's still alive. Maybe she got together with Viggo Mortensen. These are things they're saving for later entries. But unfortunately, the sequels right now have not gone back to that first initial film. I really hope Alan Tudyk is doing well in this universe and he didn't turn into a rape zombie.
Yeah, that's what these movies are missing right now.
That's what they are. That's the question.
The little secret sauce.
The little secret sauce. Everyone's listen. When the third 28 years later movie comes out, I think that's when Sandra Bullock will come back. What if they do it? It's just like a joke. What if they're just like, it's in America now? And she's like, I finally, after 30 years, got over my addiction.
I just think Danny Boyle and Alex Garland would look at you and be like, we don't get the joke. I don't think we have the same sense of humor as you.
So I do like the idea because then we find out that the son is the same way because it had the same genetic mutation as his mother. So I like that there is a universe where you could get infected. You can carry it, but you won't get the results of the infection. However, the infected won't like fuck with you because that mom, she was surrounded by them.
See, I'm not sure because the first thing Don does when he turns is attack his wife. Is it because he had no? She was the only. Yeah, because I had the same thought. It's like honestly, when she lets him kiss her, it's a really weird scene. We never really fully wrap our minds around like where her head's at because she is looking at him with almost no emotion on her face, and she says like, "I love you, Don," and I'm like, is she trying to like trick him into kissing her because she's still mad at him and wants to infect him? But then I'm like, that doesn't make sense because he immediately attacks her.
But why didn't no one else attack her or kill her? Right?
Yeah, it's a weird one. I don't know. It could be that like it's the thing the director was saying where he had personal animosity toward her.
What?
So
maybe it is. Maybe it is a thing where whatever her version of the virus is worked a little slower. So maybe it was he hadn't like fully turned yet, but he was thinking about his guilt, so he took his rage out on her. Be. If it was anyone else, would he have done that? Would he have been
right? That's the question.
Like if it was just if he was in there with another, because we see afterwards he's with all the other infected, and it's fine. So I think maybe it was like him being in the in-between stages and having a personal connection. I don't think that would have worked for anyone else in there. If like Rose Byrne had made out with her for whatever reason, seems unethical. I don't think she would have like killed. She'd be like, that's just another infected person. But yeah, because she would have died by then. I don't think she would have made it back to London from wherever they were.
It's weird. It's sort of frustrating because I think him and his wife they're the most interesting characters in the movie, and them getting reunited is fascinating. It's like, what's that going to do dramatically? And it's over in a second. Like literally, as soon as she gets back, she has like 2, maybe 3 lines of dialogue, and then they're both dead. And on the one hand, like that's surprising. I didn't see that coming because you think this is so interesting. They're not going to just take it out of the movie. But anytime you do that, you've got to replace it with something else. And really what we got for the second half, what I feel like is essentially an extended chase sequence.
Yeah.
Getting the kids out. Some good stuff, like there's Jeremy Renner, I don't have it in me to shoot a kid in the head once the order is given to just indiscriminately start shooting people. Like that's a little bit interesting, but there really are, I find, no characters to sink your teeth into, no pun intended, for the rest of the movie.
Yeah, I don't know. He wasn't the right guy for that job. You should have gone in that job being like, I might have to do this. Although it could be that you ever watch that comedy, The Men Who Stare at Goats, about
no, I remember it. I never saw it.
The Vietnam, like when they were experimenting on Vietnam, trying to do like psychic soldier stuff. There's a really cool moment. Apparently, it's like based in reality. It's actually one of the reasons that people think like we wear uniforms in war. It's like, there's a moment early on where he's telling the soldiers to shoot at like the Viet Cong, and they're all missing on purpose. Because it's like, oh wow, he's like, I noticed all my soldiers were missing on purpose because they didn't want to kill someone.
Yeah,
because they weren't wearing like uniforms, or they were dressed like farmers and stuff, so it was like a little hard to disassociate. So yeah, I could see that being like a problem for this, where like the zombie breaks out and they're like, I don't know, I feel bad. Like
it's like that's a person.
Just fire your gun and miss on purpose. Relax. But yeah, so it gets out, and Idris Elba just looks annoyed. Idris Elba survives, right? He never gets killed or anything.
Doesn't he kind of like disappear at a certain point? Like I sort of lose track of him. Yeah, I don't remember.
I feel like wherever he is like secured enough, I guess.
Yeah.
So I imagine.
And then they firebomb the city.
And then they firebomb the city, yeah, which was awesome. It just like goes through all the streets and everything. So we see that they had it like kind of locked down, but some get out. Some people get out, and we get that amazing helicopter moment. That's what sold them. But let me click back to that. When that one idiot, like, so they have the guy from Lost. He's just like, I'm not bringing everyone, which Jeremy Renner really did fuck up. Like, it's like, dude, you're trying to fit 3 extra people onto it. You didn't give him any heads up. Like, it's gonna.
He knew he'd say no.
Yeah. And then he has to fly away because a bunch of zombies did manage to break out of the city. And I love the one guy jumps on the freaking thing and it just comes and he just chops them all up. That is the standout scene of the movie for me. Just him just mowing everyone down.
Yeah, that's like the fantasy fulfillment when you start thinking about how would I kill a bunch of zombies, and it's like, oh, helicopter blade and just plow through them.
That scene's awesome. So Jeremy Renner originally wasn't going to die in the original version of this. He was going to survive. Rose was going to die. Whatever her name is, it's Rose Byrne and Jeremy Renner. I don't know. I don't care what their real names are. But then they thought there'd be more tension if like the trained military guy is the one who dies. And then they're like just with, I mean, she is like a military girl, but she's not like really meant for like combat and
she
stuff.
does like medical sciencey stuff.
Yes. I mean, I guess she could maybe handle, but like he was definitely way more.
She couldn't though, because she died like in the next scene, I think.
She did die. Oh, in her defense, she's underground in the dark using a tiny night vision thing. I don't know if Jeremy Renner would have done much better.
But yeah, they should have tried the Shaun of the Dead approach, where you pretend to be one of them, just start like shaking like crazy and yelling at them.
I think it's in. I think they can sense it in your blood. So if you're not one of them, they're like, nope, not falling for this. But yeah, so she dies, and I like that the final zombie they have to interact with is their dad.
See, that was a nice on like an emotional level, but that's part of what makes this feel like typical Hollywood. Like that is such a like if the first movie was trying to feel somewhat grounded, finding somebody who has the infection but is immune, and coincidentally it's like the only 2 kids who have been allowed back. It's their mom who's immune. Coincidentally her husband has full access pass to the facility, and then here he's the one they run into. Like it's a nice moment, but it definitely it's part of what makes this a little bit less grounded than the first one.
Yeah, which I guess when I was younger, that's why I liked this one more, because it just felt a little bit more standard to me and more action heavy. But you're right, when you watch it back to back, you're just like, you're like, that first one had a little bit more going for it. It was it's being more experimental. But this ends on a hell of a cliffhanger. Because we see they get away. Then we see because we know something's going to happen with the kid because he's now been bit. Hold on. What the hell is on me?
Oh, no. He's infected.
A sticker got onto my pants or something. I just felt like a sticker on me. I'm like, what the fuck is that? Where did that come from? So we know the kid's infected, but he has that weird immunity where he doesn't get the rage stuff. So we never learn what happens, but it ends with the helicopter crashed in France. And they apparently this was like a late addition to the movie. They apparently shot this like guerrilla style of just them running up to the Eiffel Tower. So we see that the virus has made it to mainland Europe. The high table didn't have a meeting about duels that day, because that's where it is in John Wick 4. Thank God. They're like, yes, end our duel. Hold up, there's zombies. And it left you on a cliffhanger.
A lot of questions too, because it's like, what happened to the kids?
Yeah.
Did they die? Did that little boy, was he walking around and had his first kiss and then turned a girl into a zombie and then...
Well, it looks like the helicopter crashed. So it's like, was there an accident and then his blood got everywhere?
Someone gave him CPR, trying to revive him. Yeah, you could think of ways. Yeah,
you can think of ways. Yeah. But yeah, so everyone's like, well, they got to do months next. And we had to wait a while. Gil, we had to wait all the way till 2012 for 28 months after. Luckily, as we said that the first two weren't on streaming and people were having trouble catching up.
Right.
Thankfully, before 28 years later came out, this popped up for free on Amazon Prime. And because I had not seen this one, Gil, I missed that it came out.
Yeah, it's nice to see a company do something competent for once.
Yes. And that company is Wild Eye Releasing. Now, interesting, it wasn't, I think Fox distributed the first two. Right? Yeah, 20th Century Fox. There was a bunch of legal issues, right, with this franchise, and that's why I kind of sat for a while.
Yeah.
I guess one of the things in between, instead of Fox, they went to Wild Eye Releasing. Gil, that probably sounds familiar to you. You probably recognize some of their films like Cat NATO, I Know What You Did in English Class, Mummy Shark, Day of the Wicked, Space Sharks, Once Upon a Time in Amityville, Jurassic Exorcist, and Shark Exorcist 2, Unholy Waters.
I don't even know why you're listening to them. I'm like, I know all of this.
Yes.
These are classics.
But yeah, so they release a lot of these kind of lower budget movies. So this one goes back to the lower budget feel.
Lower budget, like 28 Days Later.
Yeah, like 28 Days Later. And I mean, skipping ahead, I actually have the trailer I want to show everyone. We were talking about how that first one has that low budget video feel. This goes back to that. I feel like that was lost in 28 Weeks Later, and 28 months after really brings it back. Now, it's directed by Robert Thompson and starring Brandon Benz. Now, you might be...
What? Brandon Benz was in this?
Brandon Benz is in this. Now, you might be confused. This might sound familiar because they both did a zombie movie called Aftermath, which also came out in 2012. But obviously, this can't be the same movie because it has a different title. 28 months after. I don't know why they didn't do later. I don't know why they changed it. So yeah, I mean, I know there's a lot of conspiracy people out there, and they're probably saying things like, oh, what, did they slap a new title on an old movie and then release it for free to capitalize on the upcoming 28
What idiots are saying that? Yeah. Internet people? More of them? Commenters?
Yes, idiots. Probably some in the chat right now, but I wouldn't know because it's not in super chat form. So yeah, let me just show the trailer. I'm going to show you guys the trailer for 28 months after, and you'll see that this is a completely independent movie from Aftermath, and it totally fits within the 28 Days Later franchise. Let me bring this up here.
What we created is a solution.
A wise man once said, "It's not the strongest of a species that survive, or the most intelligent.
There's another side of you begging to get out that you probably didn't even know existed.
It's the most adaptable that make it."
Sometimes, humanity just needs to be thinned out a bit. This time, an infection was created to be transferred through a bite, like venom.
Somebody didn't factor zombie apocalypse into that equation.
I feel like maybe I was bamboozled.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't appreciate that, Tony.
We saw the title. It's here. I'll bring it back up. Hold on. Where is it? Look at the title. That says
there's something off here.
I don't know. See, 28 months after. It's a whole new movie. It's not whatever this aftermath thing is. Now, it's interesting. This one takes place in America because, at that point, America had not been infected yet, and we didn't know how they were going to bring the virus there. For whatever reason, this one kind of skips over what's going on in Europe. It turns out a new scientist has made his own zombie virus whatever thing.
There's room for more than one.
There's more for room. He didn't use chimps. He has a pill. It comes in pill form.
Which you have to appreciate. No animal testing.
Yes. We're more ethical here in America. And he starts.
That's what people always say, right?
Yes, they always say that. He starts a new zombie apocalypse, and this one's crazy. I mean, we have a whole bunch of cast of characters. We have like a fight club. We have a street fighter who gets bit, and it turns out that when he gets bit, he gets the zombie virus, but he already had HIV, and his HIV is countering the zombie virus. So he's getting all the cool zombie stuff. And he has HIV.
That's the Mr. Burns thing where he has every disease. So they're all counteracting each other at the same time.
They basically say that he has all the zombie strength and none of their weakness. And I'm sure this is coincidental. It's a black guy that they give sunglasses to, and he looks like Blade for the rest of the film. I'm sure that's a coincidence. I'm sure they didn't do that on purpose. There's, one of the cool things about these zombie apocalypse films is how society acts and how people lose their morals. We see a serial killer and his nurse that he corrupts. Stop me if you heard this before. A killer in an insane asylum corrupting their doctor and making them go on killing sprees. That's new. I'm not joking with you, Gil. I'm not some kind of harlequin here. That one was not as subtle as the other one.
I feel like you're trying to subtly hint something toward me, but I'm going to pretend I get it and nod.
We get to see how they interact with a zombie apocalypse. So what happens when the madmen are loose amongst the monsters? And we get a little bit of Resident Evil here. We have like a big zombie enhanced guy with a chain that doesn't look like one you use like in your garden or whatever. It's like a really cool manly chain, and he's got a gimp mask. And at some point, the doctor gives himself zombie enhanced powers, and he's kind of like Wesker from Resident Evil. Weird direction to take the franchise, Gil. I didn't see it going this way. I didn't think we were going to go.
We always praise Danny Boyle and Alex Garland. They are experimental filmmakers, and they're always able to straddle that line. They bring that experimentation, the art house feel to a mainstream audience.
Yes, and this is very art house. This is very, very art house. There's a lot of cool editing decisions they make. Like when you're in a room with like 4 characters, a room that suspiciously looks like a conference room that you reserve at a hotel, and then they have like a divider up.
I was watching the movie, and I'm like, I think I'm sitting in the same chair as that guy. It's the same one.
So so I'm watching that scene, and they did this how like the other one was a little bit dreamlike with the visuals and whatnot. This one was dreamlike with like the audio, because the character would be in a room and you would hear his voice naturally with an echo, and then someone who's standing directly in front of him at the same distance from the camera would say something, and then they would sound like they're this close to the mic, as if it was 80 yards after the fact. And they did a cool thing, how like the zombies, they want to make everyone uniform. You lose your individuality. They did something cool in the editing where 3 of the female characters all sound like the same voice actress, even though they're 3 completely different characters. I think that was a stylistic choice. That being said, I don't like it as much as the others. The action, I'm sure you'll agree with me, the action's just not as intense as 28 Days and 28 Weeks. The biggest disappointment for me, Gil, in 28 Months After, I was like, okay, we're in America now. Let's circle back to Gwen's rehab. Is she rehabilitated? Because we've been spending time in Europe. We've never circled back. This was the time to do it, Gil, and they They dropped the ball.
Can somebody get Sandra Bullock lookalike and shoot this movie for Tony? I think he's not going to be able to rest until he gets resolution to this plot.
Yes, I need some resolution. But yeah, this film, it almost, if I had to describe this film, it feels like maybe at some point people with no budget decided they wanted to make a web series, and then they just decided to stitch all the episodes together and make it a movie. So it feels very disjointed because we spend large sections with some characters, and then we circle back to other characters that we haven't seen for 40 minutes. And it's very, very jarring. Skipping ahead, this is not the best one, Gil. I was really let down with 28 months after.
Yeah,
Were you
I would
also
say
let down?
based on the 3 minutes that I watched of it, I also was not the biggest fan. It looks like it was filmed over there. Like, I think in the next 12 hours, if you gave me a camera, I might be able to do something of higher quality than this. And that's not me complimenting myself at all. I think AJ Wizzle, wherever you are right now, turn the camera around, point it at you, and just come up with something. It will be better than what I watched last night, I think.
AJ Wizzle, can you write an article about the cinematography of 28 months after? I would love to read that. I'd read that on air for you if you wrote an article about this. But yeah, and I assume that most of America and the world didn't care for this one because we didn't even know it came out in 2012. Although I imagine in 2012, everyone was hype on the Avengers and seeing Spider-Man being rebooted. They were thrilled to see what I would do in The Dark Knight Rises. So maybe they were just like, you know what? We're kind of over the zombie thing for a bit. And another Resident Evil came out in 2012. One of the really bad ones. What was that? Retribution?
I don't know. I never followed that series, so
I don't know.
I remember seeing all the commercials, but that's it.
I still don't know what the Retribution was in that movie. I don't understand it.
Zach Kreger from Weapons and Barbarian is doing the next Resident Evil. How cool is that?
It is cool. Apparently he's just doing a different story, not tied to the games, and it's like, okay.
People love when they do that.
The last one really fucked up by trying to combine 1 and 2. It's like, no, just do 1. You combine 2 and 3. You can't combine Resident Evil 1 and 2. It's not going to work. Pick one. Just do the match.
By the way, this is all giving me an idea. Can we take this stream, sell it to Amazon, and then the poster can be like in very small letters, what is the best 28 days later movie?
Gil, are you implying that Wild Eye is using manipulative tactics to get people to watch this movie on Amazon? Is that what you're suggesting, Gil?
Yes, I am. I'm not afraid to say it.
I think another.
You know me. You can't muzzle me.
I think another reason this one didn't do well. I don't think it was advertised. Like, if you type in 28 months after in IMDb, it doesn't even come up, Gil. For some reason, the director's other movie, Aftermath, starring the entire same cast and writers, that one does come up. But 28 months later, the after doesn't come up at all. But yeah, this was a letdown. This is a letdown. I honestly, it doesn't really fit in with the other films. You can skip this one, Gil. Normally, I would be upset that you didn't watch all of the movie, but that's fine. This is like Halloween 3. You can skip this one, and you'll be able to follow what's going on in Halloween 4. You can't skip 28 Days though, because we're gonna come back. It's gonna be a full circle moment, some point in the future.
Yeah, I see. You've just stopped caring about audience retention.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Did we lose our audience? No, I'm sure everyone's like, thank you. I didn't know about this movie. That's very informative, Toad. I don't know what you're talking. No, I'm looking at it right now. They're all talking about Resident Evil. So actually that worked. Fuck you. I already played the trailer. I didn't know for myself.
Were you afraid you were going to forget to play the trailer?
Look, putting clips in is like,
I need to get this bit just right.
Putting clips in is new for me. I actually didn't put any clips from the movies in this. So I was just going to do the trailer. But yeah, what was it? The last stream, Austin Powers. I just have play clip, so I wouldn't forget. So yeah, finally, Danny Boyle has come back to 28 years later. They kind of missed the window on months. Well, no, never mind. They did months. What I mean, Shit, did I fuck up my bit? Well, yeah, Danny Boyle himself didn't get to do months, so I'm glad he came back to do years. He didn't get to do weeks or months. He's back for years. And I think the franchise really needed him back. I mean, I would like Betty Thompson to come back, but maybe for the last one. So 28 years later is finally out. Came out in June. I watched it and I freaking loved it. And I'm going to read you the synopsis here because I think I have. Here we go. It's been almost 3 decades since the rage virus escaped a biological weapons laboratory. And now, still in a ruthlessly enforced quarantine, some have found ways to exist amidst the infection. Let me drink some water. Some have found ways to exist amidst the infected. I probably screwed that up.
That is a weird sentence. I'll give you that.
One such group of survivors lives on a small island connected to the mainland by a single, heavily defended causeway. When one of the groups leaves the island on a mission into the dark heart of the mainland, he discovers secrets, wonders, and horrors that have mutated not only the infected, but other survivors as well, such as Jimmy.
I gotta say, great job curating the right images to go with each of those adjectives.
Yes, I think that worked really well. Yes, that is 28 years later. People really want to know what I think, and this movie was awesome.
I'm so glad to hear you say that. Honestly, I was nervous all day because like the chatter around, you see, most movies, there's a standard safe opinion you can take. 28 days later, great. 28 weeks later, fine, not as good as the original. You can say that, nobody will get mad at you. This movie's weird. I walked out of it and I was like, I feel like I just saw an amazing movie.
Yeah.
And then I'm looking around and I'm seeing a lot of, why did they even make that movie? What the hell did I just watch? And I'm like, I don't know what to say.
They definitely got creative with it. I am bummed that they gloss over the France thing. We see a map that the infected did make it to the mainland, I think, and then they were like, it was pushed back.
Right.
I was like,
you could have just pushed it back a little more. Push it back out to sea. Get rid of it.
I wanted to be like, how did you guys do that? And I think Alex Garland said that like when it showed up in France, they just nuked it. They're like, we're not taking any fucking chances. Just nuke the fucking thing.
You know, that would have been cool to include in one of, like the way they, I don't know why this is the example I go to, but in the Hulk movie, The Incredible Hulk, where they gloss over his origin, but they show it like behind the opening credits. If they had done that, like you see a nuke fall on Paris, like what a ambitious way to open the movie.
They could have, because they show a bunch of footage from the first 2 movies in the opening like prologue thing. Because they show the part where they're like sniping all the people in 28 weeks later. But I guess because they weren't super connected to that one, they kind of just didn't want to reference too many things other than the outbreak happened again because they need that. But yeah, England is still taken over. People have been there for 28 years. So again, America, we only really got the London part down, I think. We never really got into like the rural areas, and that's where they all kind of been surviving the whole time.
Right. We showed up, we firebombed the city, and we left.
Yeah. So people have just been living there for decades. It's completely quarantined. No one is allowed to go there.
Yeah, you see France boats like patrolling the quarantine zone throughout the movie.
Although these people in the village, I think after 28 years, you kind of know that they're not like infected. A boat could have came up and helped them out, I think, right? I feel kind of bad. Like, they're on the ocean. It's like, let's pick up those guys at least. Come on. So, yeah, the world has changed. Everyone else doesn't give a shit about them anymore. We see all the survivors, how they deal with the world. I love that they're all using bow and arrows because guns are scarce. I love the whole opening montage where they're showing like their daily routines and stuff, and they're showing like clips from like old movies, like old war movies.
Yeah,
I thought that was really interesting.
The use of like that Boots poem as the father is taking Spike out for his first hunt, like that 3 minutes, that gave me goosebumps. Like that is, to me, entered into the pantheon of great sequences in film history. And like intercutting it with old war footage, and I think clips from the like 1944 movie Henry V. So you get some of like the knights fighting. So you see how this like echoes the past. It's just it's beautiful. It's art.
No, I really, really love it. And that poem, of course, is by Rudyard Kipling, who I think all of us know The Jungle Book. He wrote the original Jungle Book in 1894. And he also wrote like other books and stuff like Ricky Tikki Tavi and The White Man's Burden. Anyway, so yeah, they go to the mainland to like hunt for supplies. Now remember, in 28 days later, which I almost called the first one, but that doesn't make sense.
You fool.
Yeah, we saw that the infected will just die off because they don't eat. They're not like, they just don't eat. They're full of rage. They don't take care of themselves, and they eventually will die. We learned that they eventually got smart. We don't know why they got smart, why the first batch never got smart.
Well, to be fair, we're seeing a slice of them, right? We don't know what's going on. We don't see all of them. And so, like, the way Alex Garland was explaining it, or it might have been Danny Boyle, I forget. Yeah. He was saying how the rage virus inside you, it's like a burning inferno. It's always using up energy. So some of them, their body deals with it by no longer expending energy. Instead, they crawl around on the floor. They become slow-lows, which in the original script were called slugs. Yeah. And it's, for some of them, the way they deal with this constant use of energy, the virus becomes like a steroid, and they turn into the alpha. And then I guess under his leadership, the regular infected that we see in the original, they're able to feed because he takes them hunting and everything.
Yes. I do like the slugs. The slow-mo.
Yeah, me too. I love that, like, you know, they found a way to like evolve the zombies so that the first time they go out, there's still an element of surprise, and it's grotesque. So they find a way to make this thing we've seen a million times like scary and off-putting again.
Yeah. I think that is like the really cool part of it being 28 years later. You do have the freedom to be like, well, it's been decades. We can say that a bunch of shit has happened with the virus and the zombies. And also, what the fuck was that lab up to? What the fuck was that virus? Like, I'm like, all right, rage zombies. And it's like, now they make you giant men? What the fuck?
Yeah. And you can predator people where you rip their heads off.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Look, the slug guys, I'm fine with. Most of the stuff I'm fine with. I thought the alphas were a little goofy. I'm not gonna lie.
I
feel like the alpha. Well, there's multiple alphas, but the alphas are really goofy.
And I love the. I know I'm just kind of like ignoring what you said, but like I love the the sound design where you hear like each individual like bone in the spine. It's like ripping out.
No, what they're doing is cool. I'm just like, because they are regular people. They are big. They're filmed to look bigger than they are, but there is one moment where he's standing next to one, and it is like, it's a large human, but it's not like a giant, but then other times it's filmed to look like a giant.
Right. Well, the first time you meet him, they're like on a downward sloping hill.
Yeah, hold on. So I have it.
Oh, you have the picture?
Yeah, so it makes it seem like for a minute, I'm like, how do they get that fucking big? And I'm like, oh, he was just closer to the camera. Like, they are big, but they're not like fucking. It's so
and they do that, like, for some reason, like, monstrous thing where your hand, it's not like this, it's like that. It's so much creepier when your hand is like that. I don't know why.
And I do like I said, with the whole like DV video, I love they have this red night vision that they're using throughout the movie. When he shows them like hunting, so they've realized the other ones realize they can eat slugs. I guess they don't have an alpha.
Shoelaces.
Yeah, I guess they don't have an alpha that taught them how to hunt other things, and it's too late for them to.
They're like, I don't wanna. I'm just gonna crawl around and find.
An alpha shows up like, hey, we can eat deer and have like good protein. They're like, I spent 30 years eating bugs. I can't. I'm bloated. I can't. So does the virus get rid of like other diseases in them? Because I'm like, what do you get like infections and stuff? But I guess the virus counters.
I guess
that?
it just overrides all those. That's an interesting question. Like, can they get like cancer and die of just other natural causes?
They clearly have some stuff, but like humans can't like eat raw meat most of the time. It's you shouldn't be eating raw deer meat all the time, which is what they're fucking doing. So that is cool how they go into the world and they look for supplies, and this is a nice father-son story. We learn little bit about their family unit. It's like Aaron Taylor Johnson and Jodie Comer. That's her name, right?
Comer. Yeah, I think that's right.
Who anytime I see her now, I just want her to do her voice from the Bike Riders. I just want her to talk like this all the time. Like this movie would have been so much better, Gil, if she was just
only thing that could have improved this movie. I think we can all agree.
So she has like severe like brain damage, but they don't have doctors anymore, so they don't know how to like prescribe it or how to deal with it. So she has like memory loss and everything.
Yeah, which I think she does such a great job playing that role, because that could be a very frustrating thing to watch, where it's just loud and off-putting, but she like finds a way to be she's still there sometimes, and she's sort of like confused about why she was confused, and then kind of tries to play it off. Like she threads this needle. It's such a great character.
So Jamie, which is Aaron Taylor Johnson, he brings his son Spike out into the world on his like first scavenger thing. So he's teaching him how to hunt. They have a couple close calls. They bump into an alpha way earlier than they should have. And he immediately regrets. He's like, "Oh, we got to get out of here. You're not ready for this one."
Which, up to this point, they've done such a good job of setting him up as just badass character.
Yeah.
So the second you see him get worried, you're like, "Oh crap!"
Yeah, and we get there is a prologue in the beginning that shows you 2002, and you know it's 2002 because the Teletubbies are on TV, and we meet this little kid named Jimmy, whose family gets attacked by the infected. He did open the door. It is kind of his fault that all those kids die. And he goes to meet his dad, who is a priest.
I guess so, yeah.
Or was that a Catholic priest? Was that a different priest? I don't know if you know this, Gil.
Not my area of expertise.
Yes, Gil, I don't know if you know this, but Catholic priests, as far as I remember, they're not allowed to marry or have kids. He goes to him for help. Because he says dad, he doesn't say father. If he had been saying father...
Wait, he's a vicar. Does that narrow it down? I have the screenplay pulled up.
What is a vicar? Hold on.
Okay, I was hoping you would know.
Vicar meaning... Oh, vicar. I spelled it wrong. A priest acting as a substitute or parish priest in Christian denominations.
Boom.
Surname vicar is originating from. Hold on. Is vicar? I'm writing is vicar a Catholic? Are there Catholic vicars? Now I have to know. Are there Catholic?
I'll say while you're doing that, I'll say picking up the screenplay, it's a fun exercise to read it while watching the movie and seeing what they change. Like that little one I mentioned before, they called them slugs in the script, and in the movie they become slow-los. In the script, there's no Teletubbies. It starts like right in the action, and there's none of the vicar. He's not sitting there going, "This is judgment." That wasn't in there. He was already turned. So you can see some of the stuff that changes.
So they changed it.
Yeah, and then also just some interesting stuff, like you see the line where Jimmy goes, "Father, why have you forsaken me?" And I'm like, that is such a lame, like over-the-top line. But then I see the way he delivers it, I'm like, that actually worked really well. There were a few things like that where I'm like, that's a corny line. They probably changed that. And then I see it in the context of the movie, and I'm like, that actually works. Yeah. It gives you an appreciation of like the different jobs.
No, that's also why I like watching the work print versions of films and seeing what they changed afterwards. I get the same feeling from that. Yeah, vicars are basically just priests that are, he shouldn't have a kid. And this little Jimmy kid gets away, and we see it sprinkled throughout the film that there's someone named Jimmy out there. Never tells you really who he is, but we see early signs of it. There's graffiti everywhere. And we see them, like, they find an infected who's purposely been tied up by people and left there to be attacked, and it says Jimmy was here. And I love that they just sprinkled this little element, and they don't really get to it until very, very late in the movie. But let's get back to the main plot. Spike learns that there is a doctor out there. His dad tells him there's a doctor, but not to go there. He gets upset because he finds out his dad is cheating on his mom. I mean, whatever. He's very upset by this. So he's like, I know what I'll do. I'll fake a fire and grab my mom and bring her into the infected zone. so I can go meet this doctor and they'll fix her head. And it was like, oh no, that's such a bad idea.
Right. The kind of idea a 10-year-old or whatever he is would come up with.
Yes.
I will say the probably the biggest bone I have to pick with this movie, where I kind of roll my eyes, is when Jamie tells Spike the story of Dr. Kelson, I think is his name.
Give me a second. Yes, Dr. Kelson.
Yeah, I'm just like, that's kind of, okay. So the story is that you saw a doctor burning a bunch of bodies.
Yeah.
And then you just ran, and I never looked back for 15 years.
Yeah.
And I find it hard to believe, because I'm like, if I saw a doctor burning bodies in the context of a big infection, probably the first place my mind would go is like, it has something to do with destroying the infection, containing them. And I wouldn't be, he turns into like a scared little boy, where I'm like, you're armed. You've got people with you. He doesn't appear to be armed. So like,
he's waving at you like, hey, how you doing?
And I'm like, at minimum, okay, run away for now. Maybe he's got something you're unaware of. He does have those poison darts we learn about. But like in the next 15 years, you never send a scout or anything to go check him out. Especially, you're a village without a doctor. Doctor would be very helpful. So like, that is the biggest thing in the movie, where I have to just sort of accept it. Yeah. And I think to some extent I can get there, because he's been outside. He's seen bodies carved with the name Jimmy. So he probably has the idea there are bad people out there. And he's very cagey about it, but he essentially warns the kid.
I don't know if he knows who Jimmy is, but he does know that there's people out there. He's probably bumped into some survivors out there who weren't all together. weren't all there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I could see why, when he comes upon somebody burning a bunch of bodies, he's a little bit more afraid of him than Spike is, who's never been outside.
Yeah.
But it doesn't quite get me there that I can really buy. He would never go back, never investigate any further. But you kind of have to accept it for the rest of the movie.
Yeah. So yeah, he brings his mother there, and I like that they bump into that soldier who, I guess their boat stank or something.
Right. Like the wind blew them ashore.
Yeah, which I'm like, that sucks. You don't want to be there, because the Alpha rips all their heads off. Only one of them survives. He saves them from that gas station, which I think would actually just blow them all up. I don't know why it burned the way it did.
Yeah, I was like Googling afterward. I was like, benzene, blue. Does it really just turn into like a blue cloud for 20 years? I don't think that's exactly real, but
it's cool visual though. But I like that moment because he has a phone, and that's like the kid's only exposure to the larger world outside of like old books and stuff. Mm-hmm. He has no idea what the modern, and I love that he sees a girl with a bunch of makeup and filter on.
What's wrong with her face?
What's wrong with her face? Like, what? There's nothing wrong with her face.
Well, and I love like when he asks, "What is that?" And I'm like, "How would you describe what a phone is?" And he's like, "It's like a radio, but with pictures." Yeah. You know what a radio is? He's like, "No." But I was like, that was a pretty good way to describe it.
Yeah. I get because 2002 phones weren't like that.
Right.
So
and Spike didn't exist back then, so like he would only know from his parents what they saw, like the early version of that stuff.
Yeah. So I like that they're together, and then we learn that these zombies have been breeding,
which makes sense. How else could they still be around if people are quarantined and safe?
Well, they're breeding, but they give birth to just regular humans.
The miracle of the placenta.
Yes, apparently the placenta will save you from the virus, but I'm like, wouldn't they then just kill that baby right away? Like, start beating it around because they're...
Yeah, well...
Because to them, it's like, that's a human. Rage.
Right.
Ah!
Here's where I think to some extent you have to offer, like we talked about in our Alien Earth live streams, like they're inventing the mythology, right? We don't know how all this works. So we see for a second that she does act sort of instinctively, like she's in pain, and then Spike's mother offers her hands and she grabs them. Like for a moment, something else takes over other than rage. Yeah. So you could come up with something, and maybe we'll even see it in the sequels, where at least for the moment, and you even see the Alpha is protective over that baby. Yes. So if these characters are acting on instinct, they might at least know enough. And they even say the Alphas are a little bit more intelligent. So there might be enough of a spark that this is my prodigy. This is the thing that continues our species. So I'm going to give it a little...
Do they vomit blood onto it to infect it right away? Is that something?
Or maybe it could drink the mother's milk and that infects it. Yeah. I'm just saying, like, you can look at it and at first glance, you can have one or two reactions. That doesn't make sense. or I wonder how that works.
Yeah.
And I guess for me, I always try to break down, like, what are the things that keep you engaged with the movie? And it's like, how invested in the characters are you? How curious are you about where it's going to go? But I feel like there's a third bucket of just like filmmaker trust. And I feel like Danny Boyle and Alex Garland have earned my trust to the point where my first instinct is there's reasoning behind this. I just don't know it yet. And I can kind of fill in the blanks. Like, I feel like they give you enough raw material to come up with it. Yeah. But or I just love the movie, so my instinct is to just justify everything. I'm not sure.
But it's funny that you're saying that because I realize now that the slow ones also had a child. There was like a younger one.
Right, that's right. Yeah. Which is a really weird moment where when that child runs away, you hear a child's voice yell. And I think it's just like a weird choice in the sound design. Yeah, you just hear, get in here, hey, like a child yells that. Yeah. Which reminded me of in 28 Days Later when Cillian Murphy runs across that kid and he's like growling at him. You hear, I hate you, which was apparently just a mistake in the sound design because they were recording people just like screaming and yelling angry things, but no audible dialogue was supposed to come through. Yeah. But I feel like this time they did it on purpose. I'm not even really sure why, but it was just a weird choice.
It was a cool choice. Again, like, there's a lot of cool choices in this. What the hell is going on here? Sorry, I just glanced at the thing. Oh, I think there's just a guy who doesn't like this movie and he keeps telling us to wrap it up. But I think it's just like one guy.
Wait, somebody didn't like this movie?
I guess not.
Out there, apparently.
But I'm just like, wait, is there something going wrong with the stream?
Some people just can't handle when things aren't. Maybe go watch 28 Weeks Later. You know, Hollywood, that's more just typical what you expect.
No, but I was gonna say, I love when they get to Dr. Kelson. I love that whole sequence with the bone. What do they call it? The bone temple. Because I think the next spinoff is called so they're doing what, like 3 spinoffs of this?
Well, so there's one more guaranteed, the Bone Temple, which I believe is already shot. It's coming out early next year. Yeah. And then essentially they have a third one planned, which would be directed by Danny Boyle again. Yeah. The second one isn't. But that's dependent on the box office. Like they don't have a guarantee on that yet.
Which I think Bone Temple is Nia DaCosta, right?
That's right. Yeah. From the director of The Marvels.
Yep.
But I believe she's talented. That's a Marvel movie. You can't judge her.
Yeah, and the Candyman remake, which I'm hit or miss with. There's some good in
though. You can't really go based on test screenings because you always get weird reports out of them. But I think at least the early test screenings for Bone Temple have been highly positive so far.
Okay. But I love that whole sequence with the Dr.
Kelson.
Although he should have killed the Alpha. I love that he's covered in lye just in case blood gets on him. But he's able to, he's been studying these things for years, and he's able to hit the Alpha, and he has a name for him. What does he call him? Samson?
Samson, I think. Yeah.
But it's like, well, he's incapacitated. Kill him. Kill him.
Yeah, he should kill him. And I think they throw in one line to try and explain it, where he basically says, like, the Bone Temple for the infected and uninfected, alike in death and in life. He basically says, like, we're all the same. So I think he has such a respect for life. He can't bring himself to do it.
Yeah. If I was
it's a bit silly, I have to admit.
The kid should have done it. The kid should have been like, oh, hold on, doctor. Let me get a knife and just stab this thing over and over.
When they're hiding underground and Samson grabs the doctor and starts like shaking him, and then the kid knocks him out. The kid should be like, so how often does that happen? Like maybe we should do something about this.
Well, that's when the kid should be like, all right, let me get a hammer before I leave. Thank you for bringing me here.
And just
but no, it is a sad moment where the doctor realizes the mom is like just riddled with cancer.
Yeah.
She has a tiny cluster of tumors in her head, which is a callback to the soap opera they're watching in 28 Days, where it's been referenced.
They thought that they had just like uncovered gold because they go back to that so many times, a tiny cluster of tumors.
And look, movies later, we're back to the tiny cluster of tumors. But yeah, this is that she has enough awareness at that moment to know what's wrong with her.
Yeah.
And know that she wants like a different death. She doesn't want whatever death is coming for her. She wants to go out peacefully. And it is sad where he has to like trank the kid because he knows the kid will stop it. Mm-hmm. And then he had that beautiful moment where he has to put his mom's head up on the freaking bone temple.
what we want to see in cinema is something we haven't seen before. And you want to get a metaphor, an image that sums up a feeling and an idea that can imprint on your brain. And seeing a kid climb up a pile of skulls and put his mom's on top and face it toward the sunset. But it's not an entirely sad scene. It's him coming to terms with death and like figuring out his relationship to it. And it's not grotesque. Like by the time you get to this point, you're not put off by the bone temple. Like you see the beauty in it. I mean, that's an incredible moment. It's amazing. And it's not what you expected, because a typical movie at this point would be getting into, like in 28 Days Later, this is when you get to the climax. This is the rage moment, where this is when the violence happens. We got a lot of that in the first half of the movie, and they went a different way here. And I think it's such an interesting, awesome choice.
Which I enjoyed. I love that he like brings the baby back to the village. And he's changed now. He can't go back to the way of life that he lived. He needs to see more of the world.
Yeah. One gripe with that is that it says 28 days later, and then he drops off the baby. And I'm like, how was he taking care of that baby for 28 days? But in the script, he drops off the baby, and then the 28 days later title card comes up.
Oh, they
weird editing choice, in my opinion.
Yeah, because they mentioned that they don't like have milk for the thing. They're like water, I guess. But I'm like 20 days. Like
it's already kind of hard to buy that this kid is surviving on his own for 28 days. You add a baby to that, and the baby survives too. It doesn't quite jive.
You're right. I would have switched those. I would have switched the title card in that. So yeah, I really love that ending where he's like, I'm gonna go off into the world, and then we see a set. We come back to the opening of the movie. It's like, hey, whatever happened to that little kid who was watching Teletubbies? And what are those weird people they were talking about? Who's this Jimmy guy? And we get like most batshit insane thing where this kid grew up to look like famous British entertainer who turned out to be a horrible human being, and that the government and the BBC was covering up all his horrible stuff. But maybe he didn't know that as a kid, and he never learned because he doesn't have the internet.
Well, and the apocalypse happens in Britain, so that never comes out in this reality.
Dressed up like history's like famous monsters, and he has a whole gang that are Teletubby colored, and they're just fun-loving zombie hunters. And I love that he kills the one. He's like, "You mind if we get this next one?" And it is like the Teletubby theme, right? Like a heavy
that was
version.
I haven't gone back to check, but that was my assumption. That was my first thought.
What you call it? Lauren saw this movie. She loved it, and she was like, the Teletubby thing had me dying. She was texting me about it. Before this, I didn't get the memes that I was seeing. There was this meme on Instagram and TikTok that was going around. They're like, the ending of 28 years later. And it's from the Power Rangers movie where the Power Rangers are fighting those monsters in that rock quarry. And I'm like, what the fuck? I don't get it. And then I watch this, and it's all the multicolored people in the same uniform fighting all the zombies. I'm like, oh my God, I get it now. I thought that was hilarious. What does he call himself?
Jimmy? Oh, I thought they just said, well, the person he's imaging himself off of is Jimmy Savile.
Yeah. Because I looked at the cast credit, and the one girl, I think Erin Kellyman's in this, and I think she's credited as a Jimmy. I think they're like all
they're the Jimmies, yeah.
Yeah, the Jimmies. There's Jimmy, Jimmy Inc., Jimmy Shite, Jimmy Fox, Jimmy Jones, Jimmy Snake.
That's awesome.
Jemima. Erin Kellyman, who we all know from Solo, a Star Wars story. And of course, she was
eagerly anticipating part 2 of that story.
Yes, and she was the villain in Falcon and Winter Soldier. And I know, Gil, you were touched by her performance in the Willow TV show that was then canceled and taken off of Disney Plus. You loved it. You did a whole 10-part series on it.
That's right. Chronological timeline.
Jimmy is played by what's his face from Sinners. Why am I blanking on? Oh, he's Sir Jimmy Crystal. That is his full name in this. By Jack O'Connell.
Yeah. Who in the seconds of screen time he has is amazing, because you're like, he's awesome. But also you can tell there's something sinister. And then you remember everything you saw in the movie where the guy's body was carved with Jimmy. And so you know this guy's bad news, but it's also so weird, and I just can't wait to see more of them.
Yeah, it's reminding me of the bikers in Dawn of the Dead, where it's like, surviving and having fun, but they're kind of assholes.
Right, and it's an environment where chaos is very uncomfortable.
Yes.
Like the chaotic things in this world are the rage infected. And noise draws their attention. Like, this is a place where you want to be careful. So when people come in and start doing backflips and jumping around, it's a very uncomfortable group to be around.
I know. And I think I texted you after I saw this movie, and I was like, why are they never wearing goggles or masks during any of these fights? They're never wearing... no, Frank has riot gear on at one point. Yeah. And it's like, why is he just not always wearing that all the time? They're all like, any little bit of blood in your mouth infects you. And it's like, they're constantly like, yeah, let's slap this machete around.
Have you ever tried doing a bunch of backflips with a mask and goggles on, and then you're trying to shoot an arrow and the goggles start fogging up because you're breathing heavily? And I've heard you breathe, so I know.
Forget these specific guys. Anyone else, like even when Selena is yelling at you, any bit of blood, it's like, why didn't you wear a scarf or something?
That's true.
Blood is all over you. I love this cliffhanger. Normally, you can go two ways, and I'm sure a lot of people feel this way. Like probably some of the people in the comments, where they're like, "That was fucking stupid. That was a dumb thing to end the movie on. It didn't fit anything else." But for me, I'm like, no, I actually want to see that movie. Yeah. I actually wish I got that movie more than anything else. But no, it's a very interesting film. I know it's not going to be for everyone, but as far as late sequels go, it took a lot of swings. For me, it hit most of the time. There wasn't there wasn't much stuff in this that I didn't like. And again, Danny Boyle coming back, you get more of that dreamlike feel for the film. And overall, I thought it was solid. I thought it was really, really great. Any last thoughts on 28 Years Later?
We didn't mention the fact that a lot of it was shot on a iPhone.
Yes,
right?
They had he loves like cameras and like the digital stuff. I love they had like a shit ton of iPhones on like a cart with the one actor.
They could do bullet time.
Yeah, they did like a mobile bullet time. Again, really, really cool imagery. Even if the story or whatever doesn't do it for you, you have to appreciate like how it was filmed and the creative decisions they made.
I love if you watch the behind the scenes stuff. You see various people explain what they did with all the iPhones lined up to do the bullet time, and nobody can figure out how to explain it. They're like, well, you line up all the phones, then you can kind of like jump from one to the other. And then at one point, Aaron Taylor Johnson, he's trying to explain it. He's like, you know what? Just ask them. They can explain it way better than me. Like, just say bullet time. We get it.
Yeah, it's bullet time. Is that trademarked? Are they not allowed to say bullet time? I think this one is the one that went like viral, where it was like, they shot it on an iPhone with some attachments, and it's an iPhone with like this huge ring on it.
I'm like, at a certain point, it's like, yes, there's an iPhone in that rig somewhere, but you're using a lens that's this big. You've rigged something up so it can attach to the iPhone.
Remember, we dealt with that with The Creator by Gareth Evans.
That's right.
Remember, they're like, use a camera you can buy at the store. I'm like, yeah, but with like a really nice lens and shit.
Right. I think if I was a director of photography or whatever, and Danny Boyle said to use an iPhone, I'd be like, okay, we'll do it for you. Let's go. Yeah.
But yeah, I think now I want to see I guess this should have been what's the best 28 Days Later movie so far,
right?
Since we're probably getting more. But yeah, we're at the moment now. Gil, what is the best 28 Days Later movie?
Well, I'm going to put a caveat on it and say that I feel with 28 Years Later, I have seen part one of a movie that's not over yet.
Okay.
So I want to see more because there's a recency bias. I walked out of 28 Years Later thinking this is one of the best movies I've ever seen. It made such an impact on me. One thing we didn't mention, my favorite sequence in the movie, when the Alpha is chasing them across the causeway at night. You see the aurora and the stars. And the brilliance of that scene, because there's so much tension, the fact that they're trying to outrun this thing. They're in the water. That's slowing them down. And also, cinematic language tells you the dad's going to sacrifice himself to save the kid.
Yeah.
And so you know it's going to go that way. And then because they're in the water, you can zoom out. It can be dark, but the splashing shows you very visually how close that thing is getting and how it's definitely going to outpace them. And it just looks beautiful with the stars and everything. Seeing that almost depressed me because I want to make a movie one day. That's an ambition. But I'm like, I'll never think of a sequence like that. That's genius. So I would say, like, on pure artistry, I feel like Danny Boyle and Alex Garland they've been working for over 20 years since 28 Days Later. I think they've gotten more confident. I think that if you were to just go on, like I said, artistry, I would almost say 28 Years Later might be a better movie. Okay. But if I go on my favorite, and say the one that has the larger place in my heart, it's still 28 Days Later. I would shout out like two particular moments that hit me so emotionally. When Jim rages out, amazing. And the feeling of when he sees the plane flying over him, the first time you realize that they're quarantined, and it plays that like sad part of the movie's main theme. Like those are imprinted on my brain. So I love that movie. I love 28 Years Later. I put Days above it for now. Yeah. But as this one marinates, as we see part 2 and hopefully part 3, that could change.
Yeah, I think in my heart of hearts, it is 28 Days Later still. Because 28 Years Later does feel like incomplete because it is setting up another. Like the other ones, they weren't leading into another one specifically. We weren't going to like follow the same characters, but this one adds the cliffhanger, sort of a cliffhanger with a character that you're meant to like anticipate to come back. I've been thinking about 28 Years Later a lot. I really, really enjoyed it. I really want to watch it again. Man, that 28 Years Later, as of right now, might be my favorite. But since it is a part 1 and could be ruined by later entries. Remember when I said that girl was in one of the Pirates of the Caribbean? I actually really like the second Pirates of the Caribbean movie, but so much of it is set up and a tie-in to the third movie, which sucks. So now it's kind of harder to watch the second movie, even though I really enjoy it. I'm hoping something like that doesn't happen with 28 Years Later. 28 Years Later, I think, is the one I've enjoyed the most. But I think best, self-contained, it's definitely 28 Years Later at the very top.
Wait, did you mean to say years or days just now? Best self-contained
28 Days Later. Okay, my favorite is 28 Years Later as of right now. Best 28 Days Later. Just it's a self-contained story. It's really good. It has enough creative stuff in it. Right under that, 28 Years Later. I'm ranking these now. 28 Years Later, just because I can't stop thinking about it. And then of course, 28 Days. Very character driven, really sets up the whole universe in a way that you want to see. I like comedies. I know it didn't work for you. The jokes really landed for me. Underneath that, 28 Weeks Later, a little too safe, but it was still fun and action packed. So even though we were seeing things we've seen before, it was being done in a very fun way. And unfortunately, at the bottom, it's 28 months after. And I feel like you might agree with my ranking system.
Yeah, it was a very safe ranking. Yeah, and I agree with it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So
I don't know why I said that so snide. It's because we both put 28 Days Later first.
Yes.
I feel like that was the easiest answer.
Yeah.
But it is how I feel right now.
So yeah, if this was a what is the best 28 Years Later or 28 Days sequel, then 28 Days Later would still win because it's a sequel. Get it? I'm being consistent with the bit, Gil. I'm being consistent with the bit.
I love it.
Gil, should we do super chats?
Sure, let's do it.
Motherfucker, I forgot to send the link to the patrons. We're gonna have to skip that part. Monthly wrap up next week. Monthly wrap up. I'm really sorry. I knew right before we recorded. I'm like, Gil, I think I'm forgetting something. I think it was Instagram or something.
You did say that, yeah. And then I started making a joke about something, and I think I might have thrown you off.
God damn it. God,
you need a checklist. See, like, it's hard for me to have a checklist because I have no like consistent format. But you're doing a podcast and live stream every week. Make a checklist.
I got to put a checklist there. Like, did I do this? Back when I was at the studio, there were so many times where someone would forget to turn the camera on or hit record. So I literally had to put paper on the ceiling that said, "Is the camera on? Are you recording? Do you see a red light?" And actually, the first time we used the paper system, I forgot to hit record. And we had a girl off camera throwing Batman onto the set. It was the Batman, the 2022 one. So we talked for like 10 minutes, did the joke, and then I looked and I went, "Oh no, I'm not recording audio." And the girl's just like, "Are the cameras recording?" She's pointing at all the signs that I put up.
Did you do the thing that, well, first off, now the slide you had, that was like play trailer now. It's making a lot more sense. And did you guys do the thing podcasts always do where they try to recreate the conversation, but it's like the stiff, awkward thing where they're like, "And we've never talked about this before. This is definitely the first time we're having this conversation."
Yes, I do that all the time.
Good.
Have I done that with you yet? Have we had a mess up yet?
I don't know. As I was saying that, it gave me such deja vu. I think it must have happened on one of them.
Real quick, actually, before we get into super chats, I forgot. We got to do Boy of the Week.
Oh my God, how can we forget?
We have to do Boy of the Week. We have we actually have two candidates here.
And is this one special because it's the last Boy of the Week of the month?
It's the last Boy of the Week. I'm gonna bring up YouTube so I can make a poll. Because we have two people. We have two people competing for Boy of the Week. Let me bring it up here. By the way, I should do an annoying broad of the week. I don't know if you saw the controversy with Mint Salad last week. I make her boyfriend Boy of the Week. Mostly despite Rob K, who I see left a super chat. You can leave the super chat all you want, Rob K. You're still beta of the week. And then Mint Salad's like, "It feels like you only gave it to him because not enough people applied for it." And I'm like, son of a bitch, I made him Boy of the Week. And you're mad that he's not Boy of the Week the way you wanted him to be Boy of the Week. So there's a lot of controversy right now amid Salad. Trying to ruin Riley's victory. Riley's got a lot of W's this year, and she wants to take this W away from him.
I don't like to comment on controversy, so I'm staying out of this one.
All right, best boy of the... I'm putting the poll now, and I'm going to pull up our two candidates.
So this is a big deal now. It's the last one of the month. This is like the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
This is the Super Boy.
Yes, pretty much. All right, I'm putting the poll in there. So our first Boy of the Week.
28 boys later. This is the last one left. Number one.
Our Boy of the Week here. Hold on, let me share this tab. Unfortunately, he didn't get to make it into Boys Month. What is this? Oh, remove. He didn't get to make it into Boys Month, but Joey C posted a video saying nothing more manly than cleaning. Let's check this out. Let's see if this is manly, Gil.
All right, now listen. Very manly. Back by yourself.
Now,
okay.
I think we could all agree that ladies are supposed to be doing the cleaning. So I like that Joey C is so manly that he picked up a vacuum and his testosterone kicked in and wouldn't allow him to clean. That's how manly Joey C is. His he's so manly. He's got man juice in his head. He's like, "No, don't touch that vacuum. Go lift weights instead." Our second person, let me pull him up, is longtime fan of ours, Ren on the Shaved. He posted a picture earlier of him smoking a cigar, mustache and cigar, manly, at Hack the Movies, Boys Month, Boys of the Week, Hack the Movies. I don't know. Who are we going with here? Because that is pretty manly, wearing an Arthur shirt with a shaved head, mustache, and cigar. Or is it... Let's watch this again.
All right, now listen. Very manly. Back by yourself.
You know, the rejecting the vacuum theory that you have?
Yeah.
Like if he threw it away, but the fact that his entire body, it's the fight or flight, his entire body just shut down. He went the slow-low route, not the alpha route.
He did. Yeah, this guy has a point. Joey C has a flag that even references the Rainbow Batman. What's more manly than Batman? That's one of them. Oh, and Devil Owner thinks Joey C should be Boy of the Year. You know what? We'll check back with our poll in a little bit. Let's read some super chats here. First up, the Flute Wizard for $5. Love these guys. Still need to see 28 years later. Might be a bust, but hey, no biggie. I love me some Tony and Gil. Enjoy the dibbles. Lots of love.
We love you too, Flute Wizard.
What's a dibble?
And also, you don't have to wonder. We told you it's not a bust. So
yeah,
there you go.
What's a dibble?
Enjoy the dibbles.
I'm typing in.
Maybe that's what money's called where he's from.
A pointed hand tool for making holes in the ground for seeds or young plants. Make a hole in soil with a dibble. Okay, sure. Dylan German, member for 17 months, goes, hello. It's by Cillian Murphy.
Is that Cillian Murphy? Or it's a Seinfeld, the belly button.
Hello. Yeah, that one. New member, Little Lemmy just became a YouTube member. Thank you, Little Lemmy.
That's a smart man right there.
That's not a man.
That's a smart person right there. Well, it's Boys Month. I have a certain mindset right now.
Unfortunately,
it's very confusing for me.
I mean, fortunately I know who that is. I probably would have done the same thing as you. Be like, yeah, Little Lemmy, cool guy, hell of a dude. Anthony Hudak for $2. Have you seen the Hulk versus Godzilla death battle, Tony?
I like that he knows to ask you that. Leave me out of this question.
I haven't watched a death battle in like 6 trillion years. I never really watched death battle too often. Me and my friends, we did like a death battle thing. We did Mewtwo versus Vegeta on Justin's old channel, and I did a live action version of that. That was actually a lot of fun to do. But no, I have not seen it, and I don't watch death battle. AJ Wizzle for $4.99. What's wrong with the Black Christmas remake, Tony? Is it woke? Is it the most woke movie ever, or is it another movie about witches? No, it's not about witches, but it is. Oh, I know. Part of his ongoing attempt to get me to talk about the Kraft legacy. Anyway, Black Christmas is pretty woke. For $1.99, AJ Wizzle again. Gil looks like a yearbook picture.
All right. I get that a lot, actually.
I look like shit in my yearbook picture, so I never want to look at my yearbook again. I actually had to throw out my yearbook. My friends were assholes, Gil. They were assholes. You know how like people sign yearbooks?
Yeah.
My friend, page 1, just wrote titties, all capital. And then they were drawing dicks and everything through it. And I'm just like, I sat there and I'm like, if I ever have kids, I could never show them my high school yearbook because it's the most obscene thing in the world because I'm friends with assholes. I could just throw it away. I'm like, just get it out of here. I never wanted this.
We should do like a Hack the Movies yearbook where all the patrons and everybody, we can all submit our pictures. We can all, everyone could digitally sign. We could all print it out. I feel like you might not be the only one in this community that looks back at their yearbook with regret.
I will say I was voted most likely to become a celebrity.
Hey, there you go.
It worked out. It took a really long time and not the way I wanted it. Anyway, Rob K. Happy Boys Month 2025. Gil, do you know Rob K chose Kaylee over us? He thinks Kaylee.
I do have to say, he's been popping into my comments here and there.
Well, that's
wasn't
okay.
Going to say anything,
this
but
is Boys Month, so it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Problem is, he was popping in the Kaylee stuff saying she was better during Boys Month. And that's how he got Beta of the Week.
I'm glad you handled that maturely.
Yes, I did. Gil, I'm known for handling things maturely. The Flail for $2. Show me your daddy Dibbles. What the fuck?
So I knew there was a punchline to the Dibbles talk. It had to come back.
What is a Dibble?
Didn't we look it up? Isn't that a thing to make?
What do they think a Dibble is? Because I know it's not this.
I think he's made it pretty clear now.
Oh, come on.
Crystal, you know what you do? So you know what you do with this? You say thank you for the $2, and then you move on. You don't give it air. Oxygen.
Gil, I'm confused. You said I should thank Crystal for the $2. She only gave me $1.99.
You're right. And YouTube takes 30% of that.
She gave me basically nothing. Boys Month almost over. Thank God.
Someone's jealous.
Someone is very jealous. Quarter cab skateboarding, member for 60 months. When 28 months? What the fuck? Are you late? We talked about 28 months after. Do you want to watch the trailer again? I have it right here. You know, we can watch. I'm kidding. We're not watching that again.
That's really when I just say, "Oh, my connection's bad."
AJ Whistle for $4.99. Tony, you got the DVD right there. Put it on. We'll watch along with you. Yeah, you know what? You're right. Let's watch The Craft Legacy right now, Gil. I'll fucking
Remember what I said about audience retention, Tony?
Shut up.
Oh, I struck a nerve. I can see.
Gil, while I wait for the poll to be finished and while I wait for any other potential super chats, what do you got going on besides our alien thing? I know you mentioned in our last alien video, but for anyone who didn't watch, let us know what you have coming up.
Yeah, I'm going to tease it. I don't want to say what it is yet because it's a big project and I want to make sure I can get it done before I say I'm doing it. But all I'll say is that I'm about 75 pages in to approximately 350 pages of material, script that will turn into videos for October. So on my channel, you're not going to really see anything until October. And then if you're a horror fan, hopefully you'll be eating very well. Unless I can't get it done in time, then you can look forward to October 2026.
And just an update for you guys, I only have one episode filmed for September so far, so I have a lot of shooting to do next week and the week after.
We're going to be busy boys, you and me.
Might be an emergency Monday live episode if I don't get things shot in time. But there will be a wrap-up next month, and if you're a patron or channel member, I announced what was on the wrap-up yesterday. Although I have a feeling I'm going to be the only one talking about Primitive War because I think I'm the only one who saw Primitive War. Kill, they did one showing a day. Like, great. Awesome. And the one day I could see is when Batman and Batman Returns was in theater. So I got to sneak into the end of Batman and see it on the big screen, but I didn't have time for both. Crystal Quinn, for $1.99, I do the show for free and listen to your dating life.
That's a good point. She's making good points now, to be honest.
Gil, did you just say Crystal had a good point during Boys Month? I'm going to pretend I didn't hear that. Oh, here we go. Daniel Fall for $2. Dark City improves dating life. Reviews it, Tony. Everyone's really trying to get me to do Dark City.
Have you seen Dark City?
I love Dark City. I have the director's cut that doesn't spoil the twist in the beginning. Unlike the theatrical cut that's like, by the way, this is what these guys are. And then it's like, when it's revealed later, it's like, yeah, I already knew. You told me. The opening monologue. I do want to try and get you and Joey C out here for a big episode coming up. But I'm going to talk about that off camera. I should be doing another Blade Boys soon. And I went really hard on commentary tracks for Friday the 13th, but I got to get back to doing commentary tracks for all of you guys because you deserve it. 10 minutes. Okay, ending the poll. Joey C won 68% of the votes. Joey C, your boy of the week. Congratulations. I can't wait for Joey C to come back. I feel bad.
Can you get him on for acceptance speech now?
No, he's busy. That's why he's not even here today. We were going to try and get him to do this one with us because I felt bad. Did they not announce that Twisted Metal was going to be weekly ahead of time?
I don't know. I think I heard them. I think I heard that actually.
Fuck.
Yeah, because there was a few shows like Fallout. I think was all released together, and then that one's going weekly. I think more and more people are realizing you can build hype. You get the conversation. Water cooler show. You release weekly.
Yeah, I don't know why binging stuff became so popular at first, and then how it got reversed. What do you think reversed?
Well, I think they realized, I feel like at first. And I've done no research to back this up, but at first, the most important thing for a streaming service, you need a ton of content to get people to subscribe. Yeah. So maybe when you're first building it out, you got to just dump shows, dump content. But I think now that they're established, and they've basically become cable 2.0.
Yeah.
It's time to start going back to that old model. I feel like Netflix kicking and screaming does not want to admit, A, that when you release something theatrically, it does something for your movie that going straight to streaming doesn't. And two, the weekly release model just does better.
Well, now they're doing the splitting the season up bullshit.
Yeah, it's like the in-between, like half measure, which works out great every time, right? Half measures.
Yeah, but like Netflix shows are kind of forgettable. Like I need to look at recaps to remember what happened, like with Wednesday and shit. So it's like, don't split up the show. I'm gonna forget by the time I'm.
Yeah.
Anyway, that is it from us. Thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed Boys Month. Shut up, Crystal. And I hope you live this. I hope you have the spirit of Boys Month in your heart and you live it all year long, like Scrooge at the end of A Christmas Story, or Christmas Carol, which Gil did not read because he didn't understand what the Ghost of Christmas Present was supposed to do, and he confused it with It's a Wonderful Life. That's my favorite, watching that video, being like, no, that's the angel from A Wonderful Life. Like, fuck it, it's funnier if he didn't get it.
That started as really touching. You know, you were like, I hope the spirit of Boys Month. And then that time Gil screwed up that video. Come
on, man. I know you're Jewish, but you've never seen A Christmas Carol anything? Like, it's impossible to avoid. People are like, oh, Gil, do you know about Santa? And you're like, who? I don't know this guy. You drink a Coca-Cola with him on it. All right, that's it for us. Thank you, everyone. We'll talk to you later. Good.
Merry Christmas.